It has begun huge invasion demons. Pandemonium. Suddenly opened gates and demons poured onto the earth, destroying humanity. People couldn't help them resist. They were too much weak. Only few were capable give rebuff. They're called awakened. One of them was Li Jun, awakened with rank D. He ordered to a man run before the demon comes to his senses. But it's too late. The monster ducked and grabbed Li Jun by the hand. His blow turned out to be too much weak. There was almost no strength. They were useless against monsters. However, with him turned out to be knife. With its help, he managed to kill the demon. Li Jun understood that he barely coped. The demon still wounded him, and he could no longer continue the fight. His rank was one of the most low among awakened. With such abilities, he could only watch people beg for help. But there were others, were stronger. They easily destroyed the monsters. These people possessed by force that allows kill a monster with one hit. One of such heroes was Sword Dragon, Li's close friend Juna, who inherited combat arts of his clan. Li Jun envied to him. If he would too was from the clan, then he would not have fallen in battle with one single monster. Awakened began to appear even before Pandemonium. They possessed incredible by the force that inherited their descendants. Li Jun woke up with rank F, no heredity. How whatever he may be I tried, rank D remained his limit. He dreamed of being born into a clan. Then perhaps he would have achieved more. Maybe his life took shape would otherwise. Now all he had left to do was die. The system suddenly gave out notification. The Warrior's Path attribute has been opened. Li Jun didn't understand why to him this now because he was dying. He hated the awakening system. Woke up Li Jun in the dorm where he lived in high school. The guy remembered deadly injury sustained during Rescue Man and was, I'm sure he died. When he opened the system, he saw that the year was 2025. Li Jun thought that he dreamed of the future. He ran to the window. Training was taking place in the yard. Awakened, everything is exactly as he remembered. The guy realized that went back in time 7 years. This had seemed impossible. Li Jun remembered clearly pain from death wounds, but now I didn't feel it. Death became the beginning of the return. The guy thought that after all I knew it would start in 7 years great a war that cannot be stopped. He decided check parameters. Results were the same as before death. Also, the attribute Way of the Warrior appeared. After activation system suggested choose the path that it is forbidden will change. The doors opened up before him. Options magnificent combat arts. In the past, he achieved nothing in life except shameful death. Now he intends was this change. Korea and the Far East were reminiscent fantasy world of fighting arts, thanks awakened first generations. In your own time stood before them choice. Live in magic setting countries Grantos or in the world of martial arts art called Murim. Li Jun knew that Europe and America have chosen Grantos Asia, Murim. Everywhere were masters combat arts. Li Jun, I thought that to do to those who didn't fit in anywhere. He's back again looked through available techniques. He saw on the list Divine Source Art, a practice that is not related to no direction. He stopped. The choice is on her. The guy was surprised when the system sent a notification of Receipt Skill Divine Source Class SSS and the beginning paths. The next day he set off meditate. Li Jun found secluded place not far from the school and immersed himself in practice. Meditation gave new sensations, immersing Li Jun in a stateful peace and concentration. He found out that art of divine origin founded master who survived enlightenment in old age. This technique strikingly was different from meditation 3 foundations. A little after meditating, he felt his strength quickly grows. He hoped that one meditation will raise it to a new one level. First the task was the entrance exam training paths of the divine source. As a reward for it, it was promised ring source. Night has come, Li Jun all more meditated. Suddenly he thought he heard a voice giving orders open eyes. He didn't understand that happened. He managed to establish meditation with difficulty. The voice told the boy that he had crossed the line and returned. Li Jun was, I wonder who was talking to him. Behind him there was a man standing. The guy decided that this ghost. The man called myself the strongest a man in history. A master combat arts. Li Jun realized that most the founder of the divine source mentioned in the notice. Stranger considered the guy ignorant. It's strange that someone didn't recognize him. Li Jun noticed that he is probably dead. The old man replied that due to sealed I couldn't get the skill go out. He reminded that divine origin art is the most powerful in history humanity. Li Jun, it seemed like he understood what was going on his coming speech. To get rid of the annoying men, he decided meditate elsewhere. The old man noticed that if Li Jun will practice on your own for 100 days, then you will catch the damage of Qi. The guy was surprised. That one added that for everything. This time Li Jun won't succeed achieve even 2 stars. Words of the master upset Li Jun, leaving in his heart heavy-feeling doubts. He didn't know that to do further. He strove to become stronger. The man replied that it did not matter to him program's training. The guy decided that he can handle it himself using any methods. His tenacity and determination liked to the master, and that one I decided to give it to him after all help. Li Jun. I was sitting in a cafe when the teacher suddenly appeared and scared him. The guy was surprised, really. Li needed were shackles. Master replied that this the only one way make it stronger. Li Jun doubted. I'm sure that even Blacksmith would look at him with bewilderment, wondering the question is, why does a frail teenager need shackles? He thought this method is ineffective and inefficient. Talking to himself, he attracted attention waitresses. She found it strange. After checking the statistics, Li Jun realized that Rei's level harder than to him it seemed previously. Divine Source was very strong practice. Master noticed that this is the pinnacle of combat arts are the best from possible. Li Jun admitted that thanks to the teacher I reached the level 2 stars. Master asked where he was heading. The guy replied that the shackles are already ready. Was met on the street classmates. They laughed at him. The guys were E-rank fighters and inherited their strength from their parents. Li Jun asked them to leave him alone, but they didn't calm down. He could not bear it and, overcome fury, struck one of them. His blow was lightning fast, full strength and determination. Rest pounced on him. Their movements were predictable. He immobilized both, quickly and accurately neutralizing their threat. His movements were clear and fast, as if honed technique. He doesn't need it was remind him that he is unworthy more. In childhood, Aunt constantly scolded him and blamed him for her misfortunes. She threatened kill the guy. The father did not interfere. He was completely entrusted upbringing his own a child for her. Since childhood, Li Jun was not to anyone needed. All his life he tried to his family recognized him. But now all should was change. He was going to grow in strength and look down on others as they looked down on you earlier on it. In this he will not allow anyone to live myself humiliate. Last at night they started to implement first tests. The teacher explained that divine art manifests itself then when body reaches the limit their own opportunities. Li Jun, I doubted it. Really, Li trial should consist in the fact that to drag a huge one on oneself stone. When he got to the top, he barely stayed on his feet. Having opened window status, he saw that finished first main exercise introductory workout paths of the divine source. As a reward, he received ring source. It turned out to be unusual, beautiful. Master explained that this is a unique artifact of the school combat arts. Put on ring, Li Jun saw its characteristics. An S-class item that protects owner from energy damage. He never held an artifact of this level in his hands before. The guy didn't understand why deserved it so valuable treasure. The system notified that open new way. New task became the endless path of the earthly sorrows. He wanted to ask the teacher more about it, test, but he had already disappeared. After fights with boys, Li Jun thoughtfully looked at the ring. He remembered conversation with the master, in which that asked why Li Jun chose exactly this way. After all, rest seemed where more attractive. Then he replied that this path seemed to him the only one correct. The boy wanted to follow in his teacher's footsteps. In the head, the words of those surfaced boys. They boasted that will go to the divine sect forces. From the master's voice brought him out of his thoughts. That asked, what kind of sect is this? Li Jun explained what they teach their combat arts Huang Fu family. Master, I was surprised why Li Jun still hasn't mastered it them. The guy is forced was admit that he did not inherit blood abilities. In children awakened more chances to get powers from parents. Such children are born with congenital skills meditations. Rest sometimes even surpass parents by strength. Example, Sword Dragon from sects Iron Blood, descendant of a family where Art Nangong is transmitted from generation after generation. Master snorted, saying that this disgrace. In his youth, combat arts were not passed down by inheritance. He asked, not because of this father Li Jun refused it. Li Jun admitted this is, but his look was hard as if he had long since come to terms with this reality. He understood that the past can't be changed, and what now his power and future depend only from himself. The master coldly remarked that such a person has no right to be called father. He promised Lee Junoo to pass on all the knowledge he possessed. The guy remembered the father's last words. As he was saying goodbye, he said that his son never will be friends, and he himself will not be able to become anyone's friend. But now he was a teacher. He hoped that with his help all will change. Lee Jun suggested that the mentor tell about himself, hoping to know more about his background and the reasons that led him to this role. That replied that in his time committed many sins, therefore became a hermit. The guy asked if is he a villain? This question made the teacher angry. They began their training. Lee Jun was ready to absorb every word of the mentor, realizing how much important can be these classes for his further growth and development. The teacher noticed that awakened of this time significantly are inferior in strength to the majority warriors of his era. During he explained the training Lee Junoo, what modern fighters they don't understand the essence of combat at all arts. When that will reach enlightenment through combat, he will be able to become the strongest man in the world. Diligently while doing, Lee Jun managed to achieve success. He never left the question is why exactly second. For this the master, without blinking, replied that first he is left alone. The teacher suggested moving on to the next one stage. The guy faced a test on the brink of life and death, ideal conditions for acquisition enlightenment. Lee Jun didn't understand where to find something like that. Situation. Then the teacher asked, "We're going to the strongest from masters." The answer was the green zone. Entrance was in the basement and was closed by the director. Awakened below rank S entry there forbidden. Place it was considered extremely dangerous. They approached the door that stood before them, as if hiding something important for your own mysterious barrier. Master said that Lee Jun will cope if we'll follow his instructions exactly. Following the instructions, he opened the door and saw inside the portal. The boy wanted to remove the shackles before entering, but the teacher stopped him. Fight was to be found in them. Lee Jun stepped inside and immediately felt like air around became heavier, as if in this place time slowed down. They were left alone, the mentor decided hand over to him new skill. So Lee Jun received the Royal Gate, Technique Class B. He was glad of the gift, especially in anticipation of the battle. The monsters were approaching him, with all sides. Master explained that Royal Gate, technique works legs. In her basis lies clean physical strength. I'm sure that Lee Jun will cope with it. But in battle, everything turned out to be more complicated. The monsters did not leave him chance even react. Following the instructions of the mentor, he finally managed to destroy one of them. This success shook Lee Jun. The guy knew that rejoice it was early. Enemies was much more, and that's all, only it began. The animals surrounded him with all parties, depriving them of the opportunity to retreat. One of monsters, despite his protection, still managed to injure him, and Lee Jun felt like a cold fear grips his body. He knew that if he fails to cope with this onslaught, he will face the same ending as last time, helplessness and death. While dodging attacks, Jun doesn't always manage to avoid blow, and each miss brought him closer to the inevitable. He realized that relaxed. The situation as painful resembled the one that led him to death. The guy worked hard. I trained sincerely believing that he had already become strong, but he was wrong. The teacher ordered to him gather. The old man believed that Lee Jun, all it will work out. It is necessary only sharpen the art of fighting and waiting the right moment. Having listened to the advice, the guy bandaged the wound and again accepted fighting stance. He used Divine Source and Royal Gate. Lee Jun was in this. There are already 6 places hours. He had almost no strength left. The enemy was exhausted, just like him. He didn't have the stamina to continue use equipment movement. The divine origin skill needed to be restored. Only had willpower left. He wasn't going to die in this place. The mentor reminded, now the most time to strike. Lee Jun hesitated. He wanted to take a breath, but heard from the teacher that if we'll give to the enemy a break, that one will recover faster. This was a rare chance at the same time to harden body and strengthen your strength. The exhausted guy agreed. The teacher approved of his decision and promised that for the victory that will receive new skill. This became for Lee Jun a real incentive. Gathering all his strength, he grabbed the monster by the mouth and with incredible power inflicted a crushing blow, causing him to fall to the ground. As a reward, the skill Divine Source spent the guy's strength. Without giving himself a break, he immediately headed towards the next opponent. The second monster, no less powerful, released it at him. Fiery flame. Li Jun, during dodged, instantly compensating mind maneuver, decisive with a counterblow that shook the monster and forced it to retreat. The system notified, skill divine source reached the level 3 stars. The same time opened passive skill, effect fear, thanks to whom monsters they began to fear him at one only approaching. Master noted that this a rare and valuable talent. He praised the guy for what he reached 3 stars in just 2 months, and even compared it to the first one, his student. This caused Li's indignation. Juna, who was sure that the master had it before him, there were no students. They argued, fiery foxes ran away. However, Master, without losing time, gave strict orders immediately their catch-up. Li Jun, reminding the old man of this previously promised, received as a reward equipment. The punching fist is one of basic technician Huang Clan School's Fu, which he had long wanted to study. The system has confirmed successful studying skill. He realized how much unbelievable will look like what everyone else the rootless disciple is not only took possession the technique of the great clan, but also surpassed her. It gave him determination. The search for foxes continued long-term time. Li Jun wandered around the wilderness trying to find traces, escaped creatures. Chasing fire foxes led him to an unexpected conclusion discovery. Among them was a blue fox, the boss level called Nest Blue Foxes. Her speed was compare with monsters from red zones. Even for several awakened Class S, she represented a serious threat. Earlier, Li Jun had never encountered opponents like this before. He understood that the slightest error will lead to death. But in the opinion of masters, such moments were the most valuable for its development. And although fear took hold Li Jun, he knew refusal means a return to the past, to the weakness, humiliation, and contempt that he once experienced. He remembered what they called him useless, and how even the teachers allowed other students to beat him. Li Jun swore one day proved them to all that became a different person. Passive skill effect fear worked, and the fire foxes trembled, frightened by his presence. However, Blue Fox, possessing significantly more high level, was able to suppress the impact of this skill. There was a battle with her inevitable. Animals were rapidly approaching. Li Jun, despite his fear, prepared for battle. He turned around in surprise. I realized that the teacher was not nearby. Meanwhile, Li Qihan came to the head of the clan with a statement that intend fight Li Jun. He substantiated your own. The solution is that disgraces their family, and the like cannot be left unanswered. The man calmly asked who gave away to him this order. He promised not to punish the guy for telling the truth. The head of the clan emanated strong energy inherent awakened AA class. Qihan understood that resistance pointless, and admitted initiative came from his aunt. This is a man didn't surprise me at all. He just confirmed that in this world there are survivors only the strongest, and the clan doesn't need weaklings. Strong flame burst out from pasty fire foxes. Li Jun feverishly was thinking about a plan of action. His knowledge in the field combat arts were superficial, but he's not bad understood monsters. The theory, of course, differed from practice, but he had no choice. Survival depended on his determination and resourcefulness. He knew that if we'll kill a big fox, the rest will run away. All that to him need to was do it kill her with one precise blow. First, the attempt was unsuccessful. The fox dodged and attacked from behind. Almost getting into her paws, Li Jun made a last, minute move royal gate, having managed reflect attack. Remembering instructions master, he gathered all his will into a fist and struck. The fox was defeated. Li Jun couldn't help but be happy. His victory. For this, he got the Battle Glasses experience. Magic Stone Class B and Spell Vampire Class A. Master approvingly appreciated reward and ordered immediately study spell. After all, reading a book is the most fast way take possession new technology. Li Jun asked where that disappeared. He was afraid that the master left it. However, the teacher assured him that never quits their own students. He was there all the time. With his help, Li Jun managed to destroy the monster with one blow. Having calmed down, Li Jun studied spell. Master promised the boy that if he obeyed, his strength would grow will rapid. He ordered young man try out new skill on the remaining monsters to dry up their vital force. The next day, Li Jun opened statistics interface. Having studied information, he realized that he had almost reached Class S. In his arsenal now there were 3 skills. He was so overwhelmed with emotion that he almost burst into tears. The master, noticing this, asked what it was case. Lee Jun assured him that he was okay. Then he went to school where they were already waiting for him. Friends. They were rushing to class. Seeing that Lee Jun did not hurry, the teacher noted that the student should be greedy for knowledge. Lee Jun, knowing how to win over the mentor, he said that to him one teacher is enough. And that's it, master. That was touched by the student's words and agreed. One real teacher in life really enough. Suddenly Lee Jun heard how someone called out to him. This was Lee Ki-hon with their own friends. Lee Jun warned Ki-hona so that he didn't ask for it. However, Ki-hon considered his behavior excessively impudent and promised to teach him a lesson at the upcoming school competitions. The teacher, noticing the tension between the students, he asked what this is for competitions. Lee Jun explained to the old man that the school was holding them to determine the rank of students. Meanwhile, Ki-hon did not calm down. He accused Lee Jun is that he doesn't know the rules of decency and ignores the elders' appeal to him. In response, there was a reminder that Ki-hon himself prefers hit first, talk later. These words caused classmates laughed that only stronger made me angry Ki-hona. He tried attack but missed, causing mockery Lee Jun. The guy dodged the blows Ki-hona deftly and masterfully. Activated at this moment side quest from the master, goal whom consisted in the fact that arranged Ki-honu a thrashing. Lee Jun was to this I'm just glad. Initially, he wanted to teach Ki-hon a lesson at the competition, but after seeing his behavior, he changed his mind and decided to act immediately. He managed to knock his opponent down, which increased his superiority in the eyes observed. Ki-hon, embraced with rage, again rushed to attack, but his blow was stopped. He couldn't understand that happens, and soon discovered that lost possibilities move hand. Having understood seriousness situations, the guy begged let him go. Lee Jun obeyed, but as a punishment fully destroyed enemy Ki. Watching the fallen Ki-hon, Lee Jun was I'm sure that acted on instructions relatives. He promised that from this moment all will change, and Ki-hon will no longer be able to treat him like that earlier. Now for all the pain caused there in the past, the guy will have to pay. Fear took hold Ki-hona, but he could no longer stand what was happening. Back at the dorm, Lee Jun, I checked the status of the quest. That turned out to be successfully completed. The teacher noticed his satisfaction expression. In his opinion, the guy was laughing, how real scoundrel. Before that, at school past hearing at which was considered energy tank failure incident another student's QE, Lee Jun. In his defense, he referred to the charter, arguing that acted according to the rules. Participants' meetings checked availability such norms. At the chairman's, there were their questions about what happened. He asked the guy what actions that intend undertake further. The man admitted that the act could be perceived how self-defense. Also, to him had to remind the guy that Lee Ki-hon, representative families awakened, and they may not leave this unattended. The chairman, Han Minson, was heir family's G, where, from fighting spirit was passed down from generation to generation art. His aura, rank A, was so strong that earlier Lee Jun lost with consciousness, barely having felt her. He stated that it was happening himself from families awakened and offered decide conflict inside families. Those present had nothing to say object. Han Minson noted that Lee Jun is clearly not that simple. His aura could be withstood really what the legendary disciple nicknamed the Sword Dragon. In the end, the hearing ended in favor Lee Jun, what did not please everyone. After meetings, cool supervisor remained in the hall. He was angry because understood that takes risks, lose benefits and gifts from the family awakened. The man decided get rid of Lee Jun any means. Behind the back, Juna's students were whispering to each other. Was I wonder how a guy like that he managed to defeat him Ki-hona. The teacher was concerned. Lee Jun assured him that managed win a fight only thanks to the art of divine skill. The old man admitted that also I encountered something similar when I was judged by the heads of the great sects and the 5 great families. Lee Jun was I am convinced that hearing his class initiated it leader Kim Tae-hyung, closely associated with the awakened families. However, now there could be a connection destroyed. Looking out the window, he overheard teacher talking on the phone. That begged give he has every chance fix on interclass competition. Lee Jun realized that competition it will not be general but special organized. Master asked why family hates so much Lee Jun. That replied that he was just unlucky. His aunt hated him to death because of the fact that father loved Jun's mother. The teacher counted this strange because in such a case father was protect son. Lee Jun explained him that father always put family higher feelings and was, I'm ready to do anything for her interests. Master expressed sympathy, but June I noticed that I had already gotten used to this life. He realized that relatives they will do everything they can try pull it down. But now he was not weak boy like before. On the day of the competition, Lee Jun again found himself in the spotlight. Classmates whispered behind his back, their amazed cutting growth of his rank. The master, observing this, noticed that around his student too many noise. Lee Jun in response thanked him. Exactly thanks to he became what he was became. Talk interrupted Cool, the leader who reported that for students prepared simulation of a fight with a monster. The enemy, as always, must be generated random and match the student's level. He added that will cause each one on the list. Although simulations were no less dangerous than real portals to others' worlds, Teacher consciously was going to increase Lee's fight difficulty Juna to the max, intending after write off everything to the system error. This, it was his chance to get rid of the student once and for all. Master straightaway noticed in his gaze obvious intention kill Lee Juna. It's not clear how a person with such inclinations at all could become a teacher. Lee Jun, deciding that she wouldn't just remain silent, tolerate such situation, confidently headed into the room simulations. He knew that in order to deal with the problems that have arisen, it is necessary to act. When the teacher asked him who he would like to be with fight, Lee Jun, without thinking, answered that ready meet any opponent. His self-confidence and determination were obvious, because he understood perfectly well that only through constant tests will be able to achieve desired result. Then the man offered a demon, an awakened one who had become a criminal. A striking example was member of the Lotus of Death. Having heard this, Lee Jun realized that supervisor no longer hides their own intentions. He accepted challenge. Accidentally selected, the snow-covered arena became hills. Conditions were extremely complex, limited visibility and difficulty orientation. Lee Jun realized that place selected intentionally, so that make it difficult he's in for a fight. Enemy same turned out to be not simple. Beloborovi Ice Villain, one of the 7 representatives elite group's 7 evils, Lotus of Death. A madman and a murderer, he was embodiment horror. The system notified that the execution tasks Lee Jun will receive doubled awards. This became another incentive to win. The enemy attacked first and Lee Jun managed to dodge. However, the next blow still hit him. He realized that enemy too much fast and distracted it is forbidden not for a second. Using one of their own technician, he was able to stop another 1 enemy attack. Despite the fact that the fight took place in a simulation, the reality what is happening was felt sharper than in the real world. Lee Jun accepted the decision not to hold back and to fight with full force. He struck, then another one, and began to pursue the enemy, not giving to him respite. The enemy tried counterattack, but Lee Jun avoided his blows. While trying to strike the enemy, the guy saw that he started to disappear. A moment, and Lee Jun again ended up in a simulation room. He assumed that the system had been turned off. Teacher Kim Tae-hyung was furious. He realized that Lee Jun, his by force, broke simulation. Fight with Belobrov it wouldn't be easy even to himself. The guy's successful completed task and received award. Also, his rank score was counted. All it became possible thanks to Ring Source. He understood that their own actions only provokes relatives to take retaliatory steps, but did not feel fear. His classmates called out to him. They admired fight and noted its spectacularity. For Lee Juna, who I had never received such attention before, these words came as a surprise pleasant. The next day at school, Lee Juna were greeted with honor. The students considered him a leader who will lead them behind him. Among them was a newcomer, Ho Soo. The guy himself is like that attention it seemed strange and even unpleasant. After all, he was not the head no gang. And to those who surrounded him, was total 17 though looked like they are already like real criminal grouping. Lee Jun asked don't greet him like that anymore. He managed to get to class with difficulty. The master, who was watching what was happening, noted that the time had come strong and popular. Coming soon to class, one of them entered students and without warning rushed at Lee Juna with a sword. He offered to him to fight. He responded instantly, stopped him and broke him weapon. Teacher with sides noticed how much popular became Lee Jun, but that one replied that tired of constant attention. From the very morning to him, the disciples approached, wanting to test its strength. He was tired, but the influx, the number of people wishing to do so, never stopped. To class entered Cool Leader. He was unpleasant see Lee Juna among students. He handed out the schedule forms and asked each choose directions and training. Master interested in how it all is being compiled students' schedule. Li Jun explained that main directions were techniques legs, weapons techniques, and combat arts. Students were distribute their classes between these disciplines. When Master asked what will choose Li Jun, he just filled in all the lines, choosing absolutely all available ones. Items. He carried schedule for the headman. Young woman was amazed by his choice. Began led by Tinjini, a famous nicknamed Red Lotus Fist. She was happening from families awakened and was famous for its justice and independence. Li Junu, I liked it. Unlike the others' teachers, she never looked at him from above. On that day, the students were study the technique of the Divine Fist of 10 steps, which came from Monastery of the Divine Dragon. The first step was put on fetter weighing 20 kilograms. For Li Juna, it wasn't something new. Next task was take the horse pose, stretching your arms forward, and stand like that until the end lesson. Majority. The guys held out for 40 minutes. Few, an hour. In the end remained only Li Jun. He managed to stand in such 2 o'clock position. Teacher noted that he defeated the young master Li Kihona without use any tricks. This is nice surprised her. She stopped exercise and reported that is going to train Li Jun a 10-step divine fist technique. At the same time, she warned that technique very not easy. This was a textbook not related to the system. The system will not count her study. It will have to read as a regular book and learn it information without prompts. Li Jun tried play equipment immediately, but from the first he failed once. Teacher I am surprised by his abilities. The master noted that such equipment it is forbidden learn in a minute. Nevertheless, Li Jun was determined read the textbook to the end and master it technique. A true master was delighted. It was the first time I saw a student with such a gift. He had not previously placed any responsibility on him. Special hopes, but now was amazed at how his abilities are revealed. He wanted to see what kind heights that will be able to achieve. Abilities Li Juna resembled neither the gift of a celestial demon nor the strength of a celestial warrior. It was difficult for the teacher to understand how he, who had recently been unremarkable, suddenly showed myself how real genius. The guy continued to understand the technology. He realized that his mistake consisted of incorrect assessment quantities necessary energy. Teacher confirmed his guess. So that technique worked. It was necessary to precisely control the key reservoir. I was surprised by how much he figured it out quickly without waiting explanations. Li Jun was ready to try once again and successfully reproduced technique. Tinjini was truly surprised by his result. Gradually, other mentors began to show interest in him. Some considered him an ideal student for fencing, others saw in him future connoisseur poisons. Offers they poured out one after another, and a fight began between the teachers' struggle. Li Jun, tired of their arguments, quietly left building. The guy didn't understand why everyone was so insistent that he join one from families. On Lee Street, Juna found Tinjini. She approached him with a drink in her hands and sat down next to him, showing concern. This was strange, but at the same time warm manifestation attention. The girl noticed that he could already teach himself divine fist technique. It's so easy it was given to him. But Li Jun objected. It did not happen from special families, and considered even simple opportunities that to him the school gives for real valuable. Ginny wanted to ask one more question, but discovered the teacher. Realizing that got caught, the guy decided unnoticed leave. He raised look to the sky where shone sun. The weather was excellent. Li Jun decided not to lose time in vain. Went to the dungeon, where hunted fire foxes. Despite the fact that he had previously destroyed Blue Fox, come back here for training was acceptable. Here only the awards have become too much modest. Master suggested excellent solution. He noticed that progress Li Juna is coming where faster expected, and suggested raise the stakes. In the air was felt high concentration energy, and he advised use spell vampire to absorb her. Li Jun didn't know about this capabilities. Volume energy was stunning. Master added that the spell itself enough limited, but with addition divine source arts it will give tangible result. However, he warned the guy's body is already saturated energy-absorbed creatures. New portion may lead to illness. Nevertheless, Li Jun decided to take a risk. He didn't see meaning stop. Process was exhausting, but he coped. Seeing this Master remembered what the guy was helpless on their first day meetings. Now he was overcoming it, obstacles on one's own. When the practice was over, Li Jun felt yourself as if returned from the other world. Reconfiguration bodies changed the limit of its characteristics. Notifications they poured out one after another, and he was already tired they're close. Suddenly among them he noticed unexpected reward: nest blue foxes. These creations were considered formidable and faithful predators. Their behavior depended on upbringing. Such Li Jun, I have never met it before. Having heard a strange sound, he turned around and saw in front of him a small fox. The reward turned out to be alive. He decided to name him Sinyavka. To the master the name seemed stupid, but Li Junu it seemed cute. Between him and the fox a connection was quickly established. They understood each other. Chairman was in his office when he was disturbed. That straightaway asked what happened. Subordinate reported that dungeon under school, former nest blue foxes, was cleared. Chairman immediately headed there. On the spot he discovered that the seal had been destroyed. And this was not ordinary protection. You can't break it that easily. He decided check that located inside dungeons. When trying Logan inside, the system reported that access to the nest opened only to its owner. This meant only one thing: someone had taken over dungeon. He immediately ordered the secretary to find out who could this do. Last at night, Li Jun, for a long time I was thinking about Sinyavka. The teacher reminded that animals they love freedom, they better live on the street. But Li Jun noticed that Sinyavka I like his bed and decided to keep it with me. Master watched the guy. He knew through what difficulties that passed, and yet his heart was not poisoned malice. Despite the sudden with the power he had gained, he did not seek revenge. Master noted that Li Jun chose another way. This distinguished him from the master's first disciple. The latter was swallowed up by darkness. Before Li's bedtime, Jun decided to reconfigure systems to understand how much it has become stronger. On the screen he saw strange data and asked the master what this means. It turned out that his potential goes beyond the rank systems. His base stats were 300 points. The maximum he could only ever reach awakened AA rank, known how 5 emperors. Li Jun realized that if will continue develop, then it will be able to match them in strength. Master advised to spend the savings glasses combat arts. The guy wanted to pump up equipment combat art, but the teacher warned that she buy it's beyond his strength. Li Jun. I did not agree. Until Master got distracted, he decided press the button, knowing what consequences will follow. However, as it turned out, the Master had already predicted his actions. The technique he tried Master and still failed, and points were spent in vain. For the next morning, Li Jun woke up feeling myself cheerful and rested. He made it pump up your statistics at night, following the teacher's advice. However, in my head, all the thought was still going around in his head that he had forgotten something. Looking around, he noticed Sinyavka. He was hungry. Having accepted decision to buy milk, Li Jun got ready go out from rooms, taking the beast with him. But suddenly at the door knocked. His plans were violated. The secretary stood at the threshold. Chairman. The woman's appearance was worried. She reported that Li Juna urgently, they call you into the director's office. The guy tried refuse, citing important affairs, but the girl was adamant. Her task was to bring Li Juna. The guy realized that attracted Han Minsen's attention. Minsen doubted his abilities Juna, since the guy seemed ordinary. He watched him, not understanding how he could have cleaned the nest on his own blue foxes. Li Jun used ring source so that hide their opportunities from outsider's eye. Having found nothing, Minsen forced was let the guy go. Considering the guy suspicious, the director decided to track Jiyu to observe him. At Jun's house, met Sinyavka, fed him and thought about the future pet. He realized that Han Minsen was beginning to suspect him, and he assumed that that will send Bison keep an eye on him. Bison this collector information for the family G. With his help, they controlled set dungeons and artifacts. To hide their movements, Li Jun decided use possessions nests blue foxes. He created a portal from the dungeon cache to his room. Planned to keep Sinyavka there after he grew up. Trying to strengthen their abilities, Li Jun realized that the dungeon he used previously, no longer suitable for promotion level. He decided go to Chlorova dungeon green zones behind the Firestone. In another life, with its help, tamer monsters significantly strengthened one of their own pets. Li Jun hoped use this artifact is for improvement level and abilities of Sinyavka. In there a new one appeared in the class student, Han Jia, senior daughter family's G. Li Jun straight away found out her, knowing that her called Icy Flower. He didn't understand why. Her defined as normal class, because she was supposed to study in an elite group. Li Jun suggested that she was sent to test his abilities. Young woman, she immediately went up to him and offered to be friends. The guy, as forced was, refused the offer. None. Friendship there couldn't be anything between them. Hanjia. She didn't accept refusals and had no intention of backing down. Connection. There is no point between them. I couldn't bring anything good because Lee's half-brother Juna put it on her eye. Master noticed that since his time, the family to which belongs girl invites only to her place the most talented personalities. He advised the guy to come up with a plan to deceive the girl and take her away from him. Suspicions. In general, at the meeting the teacher decided check preparation guides for the exam. He suggested holding a competition lesson between two students. Jia first volunteered to take part in sparring. Young woman chose Lee Juna your opponent. That forced was agree. The guys got ready for the fight. At the teacher's command, they started the fight. Jia was in effect quickly and nimbly, inflicting blows that Lee Jun successfully parried. With sides, their fight looked impressive. Lee Jun realized that his opponent, being awakened, was superior to him in strength, but thanks to capabilities reflect he was able to withstand the blows her attacks. Gradually, he penetrated into the essence of it. Techniques, anticipating directions of attacks. Jia was surprised by his ability to do it so quickly, analyze her movements, and realize that hesitate it is impossible. Otherwise, she will lose. She tried use special reception, but Lee Jun already knew that a sword strike from bottom to top will follow, struck opponent. He, having inflicted powerful blow, accidentally cut off part long hair of a girl. Jia, realizing her failure, admitted defeat. After duel, girl was confused. She analyzed their fight with Jun. Lee Jun realized that lost curls could strongly her touch. He didn't mean intentions to hurt her feelings. He felt some anxiety because of this incident. The guy knew that it was good to set up relationship with family G. It is vitally important because exactly their clan, along with the Iron Bloodsword family, subsequently unite to fight monsters. Lessons ended. To Lee Junu came up Jia. She invited the guy to dinner. Lee Jun became wary, assuming that this maybe be a trap, but he agreed. In the pizzeria, the girl showed a good appetite. That a little surprised Juna. Eat it yourself pizza. Him, it was scary. During conversation, Jia asked how he managed to do it her win. Lee Jun explained that noticed weak places and blind zones in it, attack on what Jia reacted with surprise. Having learned that her cut-off hair was not the cause grievances, Lee Jun felt relief. Young woman explained that she had long wanted to update her haircut. Meanwhile, Lee Kihan was amazed his helplessness. The servant tried to calm him down, but the situation only worsened. Kihan was angry and wanted to vent these feelings. Father Kihona during intervened, calling his son to remain calm. He suggested the solution is to get it fiery stone, artifact, capable heal his damaged Dantian. Kihan was thankful to my father for his support. Parent firmly decided take revenge Lee to Juno for the suffering of his only one son. Lee Jun, masterfully avoiding surveillance, went into the toilet. Bison attentively followed everyone the guy's movement. After 40 minutes, he decided to wait check that is happening inside and rushed to the door. At this moment, Lee Jun hit him with the door. Having apologized, he calmly moved on, realizing that he almost got caught. Lee Jun was satisfied his resourcefulness. He had previously installed portals in several places, and now used one of them to sell magical stones. The teacher asked security deals. Lee Jun didn't worry about the consequences, anticipating how everyone would guess where the poor student got it from. There are similar artifacts. During lunch, Lee Jun was sitting in the dining room. They wanted to sit next to him, other students, but there drove away Jia, stating that place busy. Lee Jun didn't burn desire sit with her, but the girl didn't pay attention to it. He decided not to engage in conversation with her, so he demonstratively walked out. From behind the table, pretext absence appetite. This only increased suspicions Jia about the guy. Cool supervisor announced, guys, what's next? They will have an internship this week. The students were offered choose one of locations on their choice. Among options was Secret Treasury. Second option, Beach of Despair. Or the brave ones could choose Infernal Cave. Lee Jun accepted without hesitation. Solution, go to the cave. He's good remembered her peculiarities. He is being watched closely, observed Jia. When Lee Jun turned around, girl fast took away sight. Tired of constant persecuted, he returned to the dormitory and fell on the bed. Constant attention and surveillance, they started to wear him out. Lee Jun was so absorbed their own thoughts that I didn't notice it right away. Absence of Sinyavka. Frightened, he began search pet all over premises. Lee Jun finally found it under bed. That one was sick. Arrived and the students were busy seats on the bus. Lee Jun opened the backpack where transported Sinyavka. The day before at night, he discovered Pet sick due to exhaustion, magical energy. Li Jun tried help, but the teacher explained that the transfer of his energy may be called rejection in a creature. He advised take Sinyavka for an internship where that will be able to safely replenish forces. Now, watching the pet, Li Jun noticed that looks like better thanks to the correct intervention of the teacher. Li Jun almost got caught when covered Sinyavka and hurried get on the bus so as not to attract unnecessary people attention. Inside the bus to him, a guy came up and introduced himself, Ho-Su. He turned to Li Junu with a request that taught him practice. Li Jun turned attention that name Ho-Su to him seems familiar. The place next to him was taken by Jia. Cool supervisor ordered everyone don't forget about safety and quickly buckle up. He was glad that Li Jun chose exactly this one location, planning make sure the guy doesn't come back from there. On site there met the family's vigilantes percussion phalanges. This very surprised Li Juna. Usually such, the squads recruited the awakened minimum S-class. He suspected that they wanted him kill or know about the stone. The guy didn't rule out both options. Li Jun was intent to outsmart them. He has beautiful opportunity kill them in the dungeon. Practice started, and Jia noticed something strange energy emanating from Li Juna. She didn't understand her nature. This, it seemed, something evil and bloodthirsty. The students moved through the dungeon following the guides until they reached the end. Explored parts. The teacher asked vigilantes to allow children look around, to which they agreed. Jia, I counted this breaking the rules, but Li Jun said that to all will interesting. Moving further, the group was attacked by creatures which the vigilantes quickly destroyed. They suggested to return, stating that there was no boss in the dungeon. Suddenly it has begun earthquake. The vigilantes realized that it's not a jolt, it's a wave. They ordered everyone run to the exit. Scared children rushed to the portal, trying leave the dangerous place as soon as possible place. During evacuation from caves, Jia noticed that Li Jun doesn't move. She tried to take him away, but the teacher stopped her, explaining that this too much dangerous. Ho-Su also tried warn Juna about danger, that none of them listened and continued to stand in place. Suddenly, huge stone wall separated Li Juna from the rest. Through the wall, he assured friends that he is okay. The vigilantes suggested leaving the cave and getting busy compilation plan evacuation. Left alone, Li Jun released Sinyavka, who fast restored forces thanks to energy dungeons. We continued on our way and met monsters along the way. Li Jun used mind passive skill fear, forcing them run. This increased Sinyavka's devotion and discovery to him new passive skill, Energy of Evil, which allowed Pet absorb energy even low quality. Li Jun realized that this skill has vampire properties. Having reached the Firestone, Li Jun took it, intending to use the artifact. The teacher felt strange energy ahead. Li Jun, touching the wall, discovered a hiding place there, which added to his points combat arts. He came inside the cache and explored it. Meanwhile, Jia tried to get back for Li Jun. Her warriors stopped. They explained that her safety more important, otherwise chairman their all will destroy. Cool supervisor, I noticed that the vigilantes were in no hurry save Li Juna. He realized that they were planning something. This was to him only on the hand. Suddenly to all it came systemic alert. Level dangers dungeons increased from green to blue. Jia found out that this happened out of Rage Mouse people who discovered invasion of his cave. Misha's people attacked Li Juna. He didn't like it. Invasion of an alien on their territory. The guy stopped their arrows. Mishini the spearman was already rushing towards him, holding weapons in hand. Li Jun destroyed said opponents who tried to attack him. The system constantly notified that the opponents had died. The commander ordered to all his people attack a person together. Mishino army was in combat readiness. It intentionally was stop a guy any price. Li Jun applied accurate strikes, destroying enemy after enemy. Mishin's people realized that they were not dealing with an ordinary person. Human. The vigilantes evacuated all the students. Now they had legal a reason not to interfere with what is happening in the dungeon. They accepted the decision to return later and retrieve Li's body, Juna. Inferno, the blue monster class, was angry that someone invaded his territory. Li, he seemed to June funny. That one looked like a man with a rosary head. This more made the monster angry. That published ferocious roar. The guy prepared himself for what was to come. Battle. Sinyavka got ahead his own the owner, and the first rushed at the monster. He applied your recently acquired skill absorption energy. With its help, Sinyavka managed to defeat the monster very well fast. Li Jun praised him for what he had done work. The guy ordered Sinyavka sit on the sidelines while he sorts out the rest mice. Previously, Li Jun didn't know that Sinyavka could absorb energy of other monsters. It became pleasant unexpectedness. He got it set awards for successful execution tasks. Near the body of the slain monster, Li Jun noticed unique item. This was Transcendental Technique of Spiritual Development Emperor. She was Basis Imperial Techniques of Spiritual Development. Her the highest master was considered Father Li Juna. The guy didn't understand how a book of this level ended up in the cave. First, the thought that came to Li and Jun's head, this burned the book so that she didn't go to his father. He didn't want to study combat art, a family that despises him. Idea blackmail family this a book. It seemed to him where more attractive. Just like in a dungeon there was no more owner, the system suggested Li Junu take him under their control. The cave passed into the possession of Sinyavka. Sinyavka rushed for the magic stone. He applied it to him skill absorption energy. Returning to the cave, the warriors did not find the firestone. They realized that the artifact had been taken possession of Li Jun. At that moment it opened secret move, and from there the guy himself came out. The vigilantes suspected that he had somehow absorbed the power of the stone. This, according to them, in my opinion, it helped him survive after the fight with the mouse boss. Folded situation was difficult. If they won't be able to return the stone the owner, then you will have to bring him the guy's head. Trying to attack Li Juna, they felt powerful resistance. Realizing that they couldn't get any closer, they decided escape, but exit from caves turned out to be closed. The system reported that owner caves closed gates. Li Jun calmly noted that now they will remain here together with him. Meanwhile, Jia was worried about Li Jun. I realized that I had failed in my task of following the guy and finding out his secrets. Young woman, all more, I was convinced that that is hiding something. Her overflowed feeling confidence that Li Jun will survive, and she will turn out to be right. When gate again opened, from caves came out a man in blood, as was Li Jun. Jia rushed to him to help. Reporters noticed that the cave was being cleared took significantly more time than usually. They didn't understand why the vigilantes didn't come out for so long until they saw movement and repetition closing gate. A few hours earlier, Li Jun encountered vigilantes. They rushed at him with weapons, but he easily repelled the attacks, wounding one of them attackers. Their leader counted Li Jun a dangerous maniac and gave the order to kill him. However, Li Jun demonstrated his power by grabbing him by the head. He made it clear that in the event necessity, maybe kill him without leaving a trace. Li Jun reminded the attackers that exactly they started the fight, and without a drop, pity dealt with the opponents. The guy called one of them over, local mice, and ordered he had to restore order by removing the corpses. Assigning a mouse the main one in the cave, he gave to him dagger, then left him confused. Meanwhile, friends Li Juna gathered around the wounded guy, trying to find out his condition. I was worried about his condition. Li Junu, it was real, it hurts, he asked. Don't hit the mouse so hard. The injury helped Li Junu take off from himself suspicions, but he is still under surveillance, looked with apprehension. Reporter noted that in front of the gate caves remained only one survivor, a student and a member of the group Divine Power. Attention all attracted arrived man. Was Li Xin himself, the successor Divine Authorities. Approaching Li Junu, he demanded explanations. The guy said that in the cave was some blue rank bosses, and he alone managed to survive. The answer that gave Li Jun not satisfied Li Xina. Li Jun, in turn, was not very worried about his opinion. Such the behavior, of course, could not remain unnoticed and not cause Li Xin is angry. Angry, he didn't hide his aggression and tried to hit Li Juna, striving to show that he will not tolerate such treatment. Stopped him. Jia, recalling that beating the patient is unacceptable for a member of the Union 15 clans. Having calmed down, Li Xin announced that from now on, dungeon will be under their control. After this, Ho Su helped Li Junu get to the ambulance help. Jia approached them and demanded that Jun confirm truthfulness, their own words. That he noticed that he almost died and asked to leave the questions for later. Later, Jia came to her senses Uncle Han Minson. He asked her about the condition Li Juna, what for? Young woman replied that he changed a lot and became less predictable. Han Minson also reported that the guy recently sold valuable magical stone, though didn't go anywhere from schools. This confirmed her guesses that Li Jun is hiding something. Han Minson noted hostile attitude Li Juna to the Divine Authorities, which gave them a chance to get closer. Jia suggested entrust the task to her. She was, "I am confident that she will succeed, convince Lee Juna cooperate." Lee Jun went underground together with Sinyavka. He gave to him eat fiery stone. After this, power of Sinyavka significantly grew and he received new skill, flame death, which does not go out as long as the enemy is alive. However, despite the increased strength, Sinyavka's appearance remained the same as before. Lee Jun noticed that Sinyavka's level does not exceed B, which seemed to him strange. He suggested that if Pet will eat more artifacts, then it will become stronger. The teacher reminded Lee Junu what that is late for school. He is happy at school, met Hosu. The guy admitted that was worried about him. He was impressed the story of how Lee Jun put in place those who bullied the students. Lee Junu, it seemed like he had met her somewhere before Hosu. Remembering my past life, he realized that in front of him was the one most Baek Chang Ho, who in the future will reach rank AA. Lee Jun suggested Hosu friendship, intending in the future make him your ally. Their conversation interrupted Pek Hak Jin. He immediately suggested Hosu join their Iron Blood clan. Lee Jun objected, stating that noticed Hosu first. The argument between them caused Hosu feel myself awkward. Later in the dining room they were joined by Jia. Lee Junu was unpleasant her society, but Hek Jin suggested that young woman shows towards him interest. Jia confirmed that her interest really associated with Lee Jun. This recognition did not leave Lee Juna indifferent, and without losing time, he asked directly her, what does she want from him? Jia, without hesitation, answered confidently and calmly that she needs Lee himself, Jun. In this time, Lee Shin noticed the absence of Hanji and Lee Juna at the meeting commissions. This made him angry. Silgi, noticing the tense atmosphere, suggested immediately find them to find out where they are located. Lee Shin gave your own agreement to teach the boys a lesson by warning them treat Jia neatly, but here Lee Juna Kan was to trample to smithereens. Girl with enthusiasm agreed. Meanwhile, Jia tried convince Lee Juna join her clan, she offering to him support and strength of allies. However, Lee Juna was alarmed by such things conditions. He didn't want to be related to power. However, he promised think about the proposal. In response, Lee Jun stated that same wants Jiyu, but right away added that this was joke. Jiyu's similar joke only made me angry. Lee Jun barely managed to escape from her anger. I found him later. Hek Jin also mentioned that I heard about Lee's exploits, Juna. In conversation, Lee Jun admitted that has a ring that hides his abilities, as well as mentioned his master, whom considers the best teacher. Master noticed that the guy was too open, but Lee Jun was, I'm sure that maybe trust Hak Jin. On the roof, they're all discovered by Kim Sil-gi is the heiress Komusan groups and airspace's volcanic waves. She stated that she was instructed tighten up education guys, and they allowed it fight with all except Hak Jina. As first opponent, Sil-gi chose Jiyu. After all, the clans had been competing for a long time. Began and tension was in the air, it became immediately noticeable. Sil-gi immediately attacked first. Her movements were fast and precise, but Jia, without losing self-control, successfully reflected the blow. Every her gesture was thought out to the smallest detail, and she repelled the attack using her agility and self-confidence. Sil-gi, who didn't expect it so decisive counter-reception, froze for a moment, but immediately recovered position, preparing for the next one attack. Girls continued exchange blows, and eventually Jia knocked the sword out of Sil's hands. Guy. The teacher noted that Sil-gi too much relies on its own forces, that atypical for a representative her clan. Jia warned the enemy not to interfere with her things, but Sil-gi had no intention give up. Not wanting to admit defeat, she ordered her supporters attack Jiyu in a crowd. Young woman reflected sword strikes, reminding opponents that fought half-heartedly and won't show any signs of it next time mercy. Sil-gi realized that their clan is far behind other clans in strength and skill. Angry young woman threw a ball at Jia, which she reflected. Inside him was set needles that flew off to different places' sides. Jia realized that she couldn't reflect them all at once. Lee Jun during stopped deadly needles, praising Jia for her courage and calmness. He took the brunt of the blow himself, confident that his technique's spiritual harmonies neutralizes I. The teacher confirmed that with Lee Jun everything is fine. After of this, Lee Junu it came message about new quest. Needed was to impress Kim Sil-gi from the blooming clan Plums. He knew that in the future Komsan group will become the vanguard of demons, and will destroy how awakened and ordinary people. The guy decided that better prevent disaster in advance. When Jia asked if everything was okay, whether Lee Jun assured her, what everything is fine. Approaching Silgai, he asks sternly. Her, realizes Li Shi, what used deadly a technique designed for monsters and demons. He explained that exist principles of which need to stick to it, even if era has changed. Silgi, angry and humiliated, did not listen to him and rushed at Li Juna with a sword. She stuck in weapon him in the shoulder, but Li Jun calmly, he took out his sword and threw it on the ground. He warned her. What she crossed over herself the line, and now any of his actions will be considered self-defense. Scared, Silgi didn't understand what he was going to do. Li Jun, he brought his hand closer to her, but she stopped him, Jia, stating that enough. She felt the same ominous energy that came from Li Juna was in the cave and tried to calm him down. At that moment appeared Li Xin. He was annoyed that Silgai suffered. Li Jun calmly stated that next time that sent someone more experienced. These words called Xin is angry. Later, Li Jun checked his characteristics. He found that he had developed a reputation. Her receive only those who have reached rank A and above, and high-level reputation makes it easier interaction with clans and guilds. He uploaded filmed video incident on the internet and was going to go play with Sinyavka. Meanwhile, an urgent message appeared online news. Video from senior Muram schools leaked onto the internet. The society is not favorable, reacted to dirty methods struggle Silgai. This has touched her families. The clan knew that video took off. Li Jun asked deal with it as soon as possible. People from the Divine Fist clan came to him and assured him that Li Jun none attitude towards them the family does not have. They ourselves came to ask that the blooming clan plums punished the guy. Li Jun. I was thinking about how the union of 15 clans managed to figure him out. He anonymously unloaded video on the internet and was extremely careful. The teacher thought the boy was quite strong, so that survive alone. But Jun still decided ensure your life. Next he intended to find a flower, heritage. This was an unusual artifact that allowed reset learned techniques. The only place where could he grow was Black Zone. There was just one place in mind. Then the guy decided visit Sinyavka. To calm down worry him need to was to assure that everything is okay. Tiger expressed thanks for the provided them materials. With the help of, they managed to build themselves a new one house. Li Jun appointed Tigura the main one in the dungeon and asked keep an eye on everyone. He ordered mice create a passage connected to other gates. He needs it was create conditions for safety movements, flower heritage. Li Jun asked masters trust him. There was a plan. The head was informed that their target discovered. The guy was on the plain Viraga. The man ordered his own for the guys deal with it as can quicker. Li Jun ended up on a new one locations, plain Viraga. He was engaged searches flower heritage. The guy ordered mice create passage under flower. Tiger straightaway realized that this flower of God. He knew that this flower will bring end the lives of people under land. Leaving Tigur with the teamwork, Li Jun went on his way affairs. Having reached the specified places, he was surprised discovered set orcs. They immediately noticed his presence because technique the king's command was betrayed by his steps. Master noticed that this technique has multitude properties: fear, dignity, speculation, and provocation. Therefore, her power significant. Li Jun wanted to be discreet, eliminate main orc, and leave the place, but the plan failed. The monsters surrounded him. They haven't seen this for a long time, place human. Orc boss was very satisfied to find. The guy used their techniques and struck down several orcs. The orc sorcerer tried apply against him spell. Li Jun dealt with him in no time. Then he destroyed the rest guards of the chest. Boss orc demanded that the enemy come out to fight and prove his strength. Li Jun opened the chest and took out from there strange figurine piglet. He immediately realized that illusory shell and true the essence of the subject is completely different. Orc tried to persuade him not to touch the artifact, but Li Jun ignored his request. As a result, he received reward. Many points for completion tasks. Also, Li Jun became owner weapons: axes, leather vest, enchanted orc sorcerer. The system reported that owner planes disappeared and suggested Li Junu to occupy ego place. He agreed, but the system did not allow it, since he already had set possessions. Li Jun decided refuse hell caves and became new owner planes Viraga. The system then warned that unknown entities had invaded the plane. Faces. Li Jun realized that someone was following him. This was Ghostly Killer with a group fighters from Comsan groups. Their task was to teach Li a lesson Juna and do everything possible to ensure that he dies on this territories. They were unwanted guests. Poet Li Jun decided to make them leave it place. Iron chains wrapped around the enemies, shackling their hands and feet. Then the chains were thrown away them beyond plains. Li Jun waved to them as a farewell by hand. At night, he went underground auction where intended sell received treasures from the Valley Virag. Having said the code phrase, the guy managed to get in inside. The trades were in full swing. Li Jun turned to the man, saying that wants sell goods. The man asked put the goods on the table, which is what the guy did. Deal took place. All that was left to do was wait notifications in the application. Appraiser attentively studied, brought objects. All of them were rare and expensive. I immediately understood where from they. The man tried find out from the staff who they're brought. They reported that the guy's appearance was hidden by a hood, and he knew code word. Appraiser was surprised. This password, as his grandfather spoke only his own benefactors. He needs it, was urgently report this events to grandfather. Those who wish get to the plane, the virus did not decrease. There was no gate before the owner. That in his turn surprised people. Those who wanted make sure of this personally, it just became more. They distracted Li Jun was distracted from important tasks and interfered focus on what's important. Finally, a message came in about the money translation. This news raised the guy's spirits. He agreed to meet. With the help of Sinyavka, it was possible to reproduce flower heritage. He sucked magic from planes and passed on back to my own gates. For this, Li Jun received points. The teacher praised him, noting that glasses very fast accumulate. Unexpectedly, it became known that Master Black Gate angry. Li Jun didn't understand that happened. The messages kept coming that gave the guy a headache pain. He was brought back to reality by his teacher, who did not understand what was wrong with the boy. Is happening. Li Jun found out information about which I hadn't heard of it before. There were some in the world, only 20 Black Gate. The notifications he received came from more their quantities. The next day, Ghost Murderer together with his gang came to the school where studied Li Jun. They had second attempt to eliminate the guy. Rights to screw up there were no more. Li Jun checked your status and noticed that each time it is required all more points to improve skills. Lost in thought, he didn't notice how she quietly approached him. Jia, cautiously watching his actions. Without hesitation, the girl asked directly, had he been there? Is he on the plane Viraga? She intended find out the truth. Li Jun, avoiding her intently look, lied and restrained replied that I've never been there. Jia again tried to persuade him to join the clan, but the guy categorically refused, saying that he already had one all necessary. Then young woman decided resort to blackmail. She threatened that will tell to everyone about that Li Jun is the owner gate. Will attract attention all clans and samurai to the guy. Li Jun had to think about her words. He noted that Jia very stubborn and ready to go to great lengths to achieve his goals. After they went to training, Li Jun practiced recently learned combat arts. His attention distracted Ghostly, the killer who caught the guy off guard. He tried to strike, but Li Jun successfully blocked it. Having seen face the attacker, the guy recognized him. Jia demanded that intruder left territory schools. That ignored her words and stated that came for Li Jun. Ghostly Murderer was confident in his victory, considering that the enemy is only fighter between classes B and C. But when he tried to get closer to the guy, he felt deadly threat. I fear for my life, the man is forced was retreat. Li Jun praised him for being good reaction, noting that otherwise case broke would to him wrist. The intruder again rushed at Li Jun, but that one again blocked his blow. Murderer was furious. His plans were collapsing before his eyes. Li Jun decided to apply equipment, infinite spears, but a spear broke at the very inopportune moment. He realized that this weapon no longer suitable for training, and will have to search to him replacement. When Ghostly Murderer realized that win Li Jun impossible, he tried run away. However, Li Jun decisively blocked his way, not allowing even do step back. Seeing that situation dangerous, minions Ghostly, the killers took several hostages students. Li Jun realized that everything had become more complicated. He tried find out who hired these people. Understanding that talking wouldn't help, he took the blades and thrust one of them into the wall next to the killer. Villains? They were scared, thinking that the guy had gone crazy. In the midst of tense situation on the training ground burst in Chairman Han Min-soon Military School. He ordered criminals throw weapons and security fast twisted them. Han Min-soon noted that the only one to the victims was Ghostly the killer and realized that exactly Li Jun dealt with him. The criminal began to laugh. He was thankful to the chairman for the fact that he saved him from the madman. Han Min-soon assured all that will settle situation and take care of the attackers. But Li Jun didn't agree. His job, it's not over yet, he asked. A little time to find out the truth about who hired these guys. Li Jun continued beat-up ghostly killer trying to find out who the customer is. The guy didn't know compassion. Blows fell one after another. Chairman Han Min's son noticed that Li Jun doesn't give to the enemy even opportunities to ask for mercy. His look was firm and confident, the same as Li Chen, the rising stars of the Iron Blood clan, and the only one human class S. The discovery astonished the chairman. Han Min soon stopped Li Jun suggested talking in private. They went to a secluded place, a place that only the director and his trusted people knew about. Han Min soon suggested Li Jun think about joining their clan, but that straightaway refused. Then chairman suggested deal, exchange of artifacts. Han Min's son offered either the sign Shingiji or the gate relatives. Li Jun didn't believe it. His own to the ears. To convey the gates belonging to the clan meant to share territory with another person. This was extremely unusual offer. The guy promised that will think about it offer, and that's it. They broke up. Chairman insistently recommended to him thoroughly all way before how accept final solution. The next day in the news reported an invasion of the gate of Chongzhong Lake. The four clans were unite to prevent a disaster. Li Jun came to Han Min's son and they went to prison where contained criminals. Chairman warned that Ghostly, the killer, will be released soon. He looked at Li Jun like a child who needs protection and offered his help as intermediary. The guy was surprised that such influential human takes care of him. Then he asked Chairman tell to him more details about the scandal in the news. Meanwhile, Father Li Jun, concerned search for Divine Skill Emperor, continued their workout. He had been searching for 5 years now. This skill and attacked the gate where the Emperor himself fell. The latest, the gates remained. The gates Chonjun. If the skill isn't there, it means someone has already taken it. He was interrupted. Urgent news. Attack on the gate. Chonjun failed. The man ordered the attack to be repeated using fighting fighters and dagger elements. Also, he was informed that Li Jun single-handedly defeated Ghostly Killer. The man was shocked how child could do such. Assistant also reported that on the internet, rumors spread that Li Jun tried kill the owner, so he was followed sent ghostly murderer. The man was puzzled as to who dissolved such rumors. This forced the head of the family think about it. Like the guy he thought ordinary as a schoolboy, could he become so strong and dangerous? He decided that need to personally check situation. On joint training, Hekjin asked Li Jun what place that will choose explore before intermediate exam. Li Jun in this question relied on the teacher's opinion. The old man advised Li Jun go to the fairy flower field. Hekjin was surprised by this choice. He noticed that in these gate need to go as part of a team of up to 5 human. Chose it himself go to Ice Canyon. Li Jun. I decided to ask the guy for advice about this places. The boy has mastered the power of the Emperor, and now could use the power of the Emperor S level. However, he didn't feel anything special, as if it just circulates inside powerful energy. When Li Jun returned to class, they were already there, Hekjin and Jia. Jia stretched out to him spear, explaining that this is a gift from the school principal. Li Jun straightaway understood. It was a bribe, but he did not refuse. Having checked the characteristics of the weapon, he was convinced that spear to him really like. Later, Li Jun it came meeting invitation message. To him, people from the Divine Fist clan approached. They conveyed their request gentlemen about the meeting. Li Jun firmly refused, leaving no doubt in his solution. So as not to provoke conflict, he warned that this time they will let go, but in the future there will be no mercy. People from the clan, disappointed categorical refusal Li Jun, silently turned around and left the place meetings. Li Jun. I heard a man calling out to me on the street. Stranger with a grin, I noticed that the guy was worth it, would kill persistent envoys. He introduced himself as Cho Min Seok of the Samuren clan, one of the most dark clans. Cho Min Seok suggested Li Jun join their clan, promising make it the most strong awakened. But Li Jun rejected offer and continued your way. Master, I noticed that the guy was upset about something. But I didn't have time. Nothing say. Suddenly appeared Hekjin and knocked down Li Jun off her feet. Together guys went to class. Cool supervisor interrupted conversations in class and asked everyone to occupy their own places. He reminded the disciples that intermediate exam will be held in a competition format between classes. Exam will take place in groups of 5 people, so it is important to divide into teams correctly. The teacher asked Lee Juna, with whom? That plans unite. The guy noticed that it was unlikely that someone will want to go after that happened during training. But she immediately approached him, Jia, stating that they will be in one team. They were joined by class president Park Bai. Lee Jun noted to himself that she has good knowledge and will become a useful member of the team. Other students too wanted to join them team. Jia chose only B, Masters Taekwondo, and Ji, the healer. She also promised to bring Sun Ho. The team got together, and the guys decided that will make every effort to win. Lee Jun realized that it was on him the role of leader is assigned. Everyone will rely exactly on him. Exam was extremely as important because the team that took first place will receive the right to choose an artifact from school museum. Lee Jun knew that there was something there to him necessary, and mentally asked Hek Jin's forgiveness as the first time place should be his. The day of the intermediate has arrived exams. Chairman advised to all be careful and reminded that go out from gate can only after their full purification. The winners were given privileges. Team Lee Juna gathered at the entrance to the dungeon, tensely looking at each other and trying hide excitement. The guy noticed them indecision, encouragingly smiled, and said in a firm voice that if they really want to take first place, they simply have no other choice but how win. Guys, even though we experienced its slight fear of the upcoming tests, they still decided to rely on Lee Juna and obey his instructions. Jia, keeping alertness, warned that if the situation becomes too dangerous, she immediately will stop participation. Having gathered our determination, all together they stepped into the dark and mysterious passage dungeons, preparing for the trials that waiting there ahead. Inside Lee Jun, I unfolded the map and noticed that territory divided into 2 zones. Lived there how fairies and monsters alike. Their purpose was to get to the shelter. Exactly there, the fairies delivered nectar from the flower field. Lee Jun explained that they are with Jia will fulfill the main task and the rest to help. Lee Jun received first task, destroy all the fairies in the zone. It came right away. Another notification was an urgent quest, which said that fairies bring by force honey to someone. If help them get rid of the compulsion, you can get the favor of the fairies. The guy thought about it. Both tasks had same rating, but awards were different. Henji noticed his confusion. Lee Jun smiled and assured her that everything is okay. On the way, Park B noticed a beautiful fairy on the flowers. Creature looked so charming that she wanted to take it in hand to better consider. Lee Jun stopped the girl, reminding her that it is dangerous to approach fairies. You can become a victim their attacks. He asked me be careful because fairies possess ability to bewitch. The guy warned the team that their plan changed. In his opinion, inside dungeons, there is a monster that opposes the fairies, and it needs to be destroyed. Ryabayata guys slightly were upset. They were not ready for such a turn of events. But Lee Jun reminded that the attack on the gate rarely is going according to plan. Maybe if they go along a secret route, they will get additional glasses. Everyone understood that there was no choice, and they agreed to the proposal. Meanwhile, Li Xin's team was carrying out your own exercise. They noticed that their leader was angry, realizing that reason of this was Lee Jun. Pak Chun snorted, noticing that obsessed guys don't often like girls. She confessed to the guy that hates people like him. Friends tried their calm down. Suddenly, their team was attacked by monsters. Pak Chung destroyed it without any difficulty their all. She reminded myself that cleansing is important now the gate, not the feeling inferiority Li Shina. They continued movement, and the girl thought that Li Xin is just jealous Junu. Team Li Juna, meanwhile, approached the monster's lair. Before them stood the dragon god Ran, a monster that they saw only in the textbook. Li Jun understood that necessary destroy the monster that was source all threats. He ordered Ji take on protection guys and fairies, knowing that in conditions of this collisions them need to will to provide safety all groups. The system notified him that he was being watched. Owner Garden Dreams, the king of the fairies who wanted his people to no longer suffer. Li Jun promised do all possible for this. The guy snatched its spear and rushed at the monster, striking. The monster howled in pain. His cry scared the fairies. Jia, trying their calm down, hugged the frightened creatures. Rest guys covered up her, reflecting the attacks. Henji used skills healings to support the team. Li Jun praised her for her efforts. It's his turn, show your strength. Strongly squeezing spear, he again rushed at the monster. The monster turned out to be stronger than he imagined. His power surpassed even trolls from Valley's Viraga. Li Jun fought with furious determination. Jia admiringly watched him, realizing how much that's strong. I promised myself someday reach the same level or become even more stronger. The monster was furious and opening huge mouth spewed out powerful energy. He managed to wound Li Juna. The guy realized that situation came out of control. He knew that the team would not be able to cope with the attack without him, but he himself was wounded. Li Jun ordered to all go to shelter. Suddenly, from Li's backpack, Juna Sinyavka jumped out, attracting attention everyone who was nearby. A small animal with its characteristic with dexterity began to absorb magic emanating from the monster, which clearly confused not only the team, but also the monster itself. The monster froze in place, unable to understand what had happened, because energy to which it was supposed to start to disappear. It didn't expect that will face such an unexpected opponent. In this time, Sinyavka continued to absorb magical energy without experiencing it know the slightest difficulties. He is successful coped with his own task. The boys noticed a cute animal. I wonder what that for myself represents. Despite the situation, they could not resist and began to squeeze him. Li Jun, meanwhile, checked information. Sinyavka absorbed energy owner the gates of the east of heaven. This surprised him greatly. He had never heard of such a gate. Moreover, it turned out that Master Red Gate was favorably disposed towards him. Team Everything Sinyavka was more surprised, not understanding what kind of creature was in front of them. Li Jun decided not to hide the truth and admitted that this is a monster that he raised himself. He asked friends save it's a secret because information was secret. Fairies suddenly fell to their knees, expressing the joy of meeting the owner prohibition. Li Jun didn't understand who they were talking about, they say. The fairies explained that the owner the ban on 10 tails, the same as Sinyavka. At the gate exists 11 rulers who are considered overwhelming by Force Gate Black Zones, and the owner prohibition is one of them. Li Jun realized that the master knew about Sinyavka's unusualness from the very beginning. He ordered the fairies to rise and assured them that Sinyavka was not there. None of them will be touched. Jia worriedly noted that it was time to finish clearing the gates impossible without destroying the fairies. Li Jun showed her the data. The monster was already dead and the cleanup was complete. Moreover, he received bonus a reward and a message from the fairies asking you to return home. The system also suggested adding a fairy flower field to my locations. Li Jun deleted one of their own dungeons, replacing it with this place. The team has assembled, come back home. The director sat in his office and thought. I'm sure that if it doesn't happen nothing unforeseen, team of 19-year-old students will take first place. Suddenly ran in secretary with news. Li Jun and his team are back. When we entered the corridor, it became clear. The gate, the flower fields of the fairies have been cleared. They provided the director with full event report. Minson, with distrust, treated the guy's words with disdain. It was hard for him to believe that they managed on their own. Jia stretched out give him a camera with recording. Returning to the office, the director looked through video and was stunned. Li Junu had to fight a huge monster. Recording suddenly was interrupted, and he frowned. Meanwhile, Li Jun decided to talk to the master. He was curious to find out where from that knew that heavenly sacrifice will come out exactly from Flower Field of Fairies. Master at first denied everything, but in the end admitted that has unusual ability. He can to predict from what kind gate fall out certain skills. Li Jun, having heard this one news, I was happy. He felt his determination is getting stronger. Without losing time, the guy asked what gate to him should go further. Li Jun was ready for new one's challenges because he understood that each trial will all its more complicated and necessary act without delay, so as not to miss your chance. Master only he sighed. He knew that this would happen, and therefore did not want to talk about its capabilities. The teachers discussed provided video from the exam. It's not clear how Li Jun managed to change so much and achieve such stunning results. Good luck for so much short time. Cool supervisor realized that if the clan learns about the successes Li Juna, then they straight away will want to bring him back to his family. Kim Tai-hyung assumed that Li Juna there is a mentor or teacher. The king, in his opinion, might not have known about the hidden abilities son. Chairman asked the opinion of other teachers. Li Jun came back to the flower field of fairies. Fairies were glad to see him. They assured the owner that everything is fine with them. Tiny creatures were delighted with the amazing places. They managed to make friends with the mice. Li Jun was surprised obedience Tagura to which the teacher said that this is called wisdom. After checking that everything was okay, the guy said goodbye to the inhabitants. Dungeons. Lee Jun came back home. From the window he watched the principal and the teachers. They seemed confused and worried. The teacher suggested that happened something serious. Lee Jun very wanted sneak up and eavesdrop their talk. Men discussed strange behavior Dark Gate. This has caused concern because not all students returned from the assignment. Gate were chain, therefore no one could enter them anymore. The students who were there were heirs of great families. It was impossible to allow anything to happen to them. Han Minsen was confused. He didn't know that undertake. The man accepted complex solution stop exam and start organization volunteer detachments. Lee Jun managed to overhear what the team had. Lee Shin has problems. He was worried about Park Chung, who was part of his team. They had close relationship. Girl always made fun of him. Also, in the previous life, she always stood up for him. He hoped that in the future they were able to would go for a cup of coffee together. Queen of the Lizards, I smelled it, presence of people. The boys didn't know that do next. Girls were exhausted. Seeing in what they condition, Lee Shin accepted solution used them as bait and escape. Guys understood that are in a hopeless situations and decided to donate partners for their own sake survival. Lee Jun removed security guard who guarded entrance to the dungeon. He changed into his clothes, since students are not allowed was interfere with the examination of other groups. The guy is determined was to invade someone else's territory. He opened it by force gate and entered inside. The system notified that the king and queen of the lizards were nearby. Lee Jun realized that follows hurry to help to friends. He saw movement below. This guys ran away, leaving behind girls to be eaten by monsters. The lizards advanced, surrounding girls with all sides. Pak Chun, squeezing weapon in trembling hands, tried protect myself and my friend. I heard my friend begging me to leave her and save myself the most. Queen of the Lizards, furiously sparkling with her eyes, she gave the order to her subjects, catch girls. The subjects immediately rushed to carry it out. Suddenly he appeared Lee Jun, who violated their plans. He's instant grabbed fugitives and without giving them possibilities, break free by force attracted back. Park Jong, shocked by this turn of events, was confused and could not understand why Lee Jun turned out to be here. Lee Jun, not paying attention to her questions, briefly ordered her to rest and leave the fight with the lizards to him. He, full of determination, raised spear preparing for battle. His look was focused on the enemies who, despite their numerical superiority, must face the real thing threat. The system notified that he was being watched with caution. Is watching Master Gate of the Twin Swamp. Lee Jun fast-checked their skills and distributed Glass's abilities, realizing that the main thing advantage lizards, speed. To deal with the king and queen lizards, he decided raise dexterity. After completing the setup, Lee Jun rushed into battle. Lizard King tried to strike, but Lee Jun repelled it with a spear. It's tied up a fierce battle. Suddenly the system notified that the queen's armor lizards strengthened thanks to use discs, and the king activated ability Volcanic Eruption. Lee Jun, foreseeing this, rushed forward, reflecting blows discs. This temporarily reduced the queen's defense. Now that she was exhausted, Lee Jun chose the king's goal, realizing that he is not protected at the time of the volcanic eruption. With a powerful and precise blow, Lee Jun destroyed one of the strongest enemies who stood in his way. After this, his attention switched to the Queen of the Lizards, and her fate was already sealed. She could not avoid inevitable. With this final decisive, he successfully completed clearing the gates of the Twin Swamp. In this time, at the entrance to the portal stood the director, waiting returns groups. He watched as girls appeared on the portal. Their state was far from ideal. They barely standing on their feet, exhausted and worn out, clearly having been through dangerous moments. Not realizing that happened, the man listened their story, trying to understand what happened and what tests them had to endure. Girls explained that guys abandoned them at their mercy fates, trying run away, and that's it thanks to help unfamiliar them human, they survived. The director frowned and promised contact the fugitive clans to report what happened. After he ordered send girls to the hospital for treatment. Lee Jun watched what was happening from a safe place distances. Master praised him for using it camouflage. Lee Jun nodded and, after thinking a little, said a guess as to how the clan will react to what happened. The guy was next to Pak Chung's bed, which was unconscious. To the sister's room came her brother. Lee Jun warned Hyukjina what is Park Chun is sleeping. Having learned that girls they threw some into the dungeon, he was configured take revenge on the offenders, but Lee Jun stopped him, saying that he'll figure it out himself. Hyukjin felt powerful emanating from a friend, the energy that was overwhelming him. After some time, by the time Pak Chung regained consciousness, her eyes slowly opened, and she, looking around, tried to understand where is located. The thought that came to mind was about a friend. She hurried to inquire her state, restless, looking around surrounding. Lee Jun, noticing her concern, he assured her, "What's wrong with the girl? Everything is fine." Gradually, she began to remember what happened and realized that saw Lee Juna in the dungeon. It's not clear how he could get there, but the guy explained that gate were open. The girl has a lot left questions, but she felt myself too much weak to their ask. Lee Jun decided to leave her alone with my brother. Hyukjin reflected on the changes in Lee Jun. He knew that his friend had a teacher, thanks to whom that significantly strengthened their capabilities. Pak Chun expressed wish meet this a person because believed that he possessed unique skills. Hyukjin decided that teacher Lee Lair reminds me of something their grandfather. Later, friends decided to note successful completion exam. Lee Jun, taking advantage of the moment, quietly separated from his friends. Before that, he asked Hosu go up to his roof. The guy was sincerely surprised and did not understand why he was called. Wu Lee Juna something had he passed on Hosu Mahjong. He explained that this his own kind of bribe to get the guy to stay under his control. Hosu couldn't accept so an expensive gift. He believed that stone's too much generous payment. Lee Jun also shared his battle with him art of the Hebei clan. Hosu was sincerely surprised such the guy's generosity. In this, the meeting was taking place between Lord of the Hebei clan and representative of the Divine Fist clan. They discussed work children from their clan in the intermediate exam. Men were intentional, do everything possible to bury this history forever. It's very important for them. Important it was that children performed well at the next One Lake experience, Cheongcheong. This time they decided to connect other clans. Father Kihona desperately needed ice water for healing Sun and was ready for anything conditions. As a result of negotiations, the men reached an agreement. Lee Jun handed over Hosu new knowledge. The guy managed to do it successfully, activate combat arts. Next, Lee Jun handed over to him combat space. He noticed that Hosu became Owner Force's combat S-rank arts. The guy was very thankful Lee Junu. Now having new abilities, he swore do everything to repay a friend for his generosity. Lee Jun was proud himself. He considered Hosu as worthy owner new skills. Master asked the guy what his future plans were. Lee Jun was intent get it right more skills for Hosu. He hoped that the teacher would help him with this. Will help. In the hallway, Lee Jun again encountered members of the Divine Fist clan. They had message from Mr. Kaju. Lee Jun didn't intend to their listen. He was informed that he had to participate in the heirs competition. The first task that the clan faced was to accept participation in the attack on Lake Cheongcheong. Wu Lee Jun was not their choice. Being part of the Divine Fist clan, he is forced was to submit. Deep down, he dreamed forever tear apart connection with the clan. Lee Jun was upset happening. He got tired of it playing your competition, father. The guy wanted to get rid of this connections once and for all. Having seen Jiyu, Lee Jun remembered the director's proposal regarding gate shings. He decided to talk to the girl immediately. Lee Jun asked Jiyu convey to the director his consent to the transaction. In return, he demanded entrance to the gate shings. At Shingi's, there was one exceptional rule. The right to enter the gate had the one who had a reason. Jia intentional was provide to him this access. Also from Lee Juna was required full support those who was with him part Shingi. When the recruited hunter hunted outside the gate, he shared with Shingi production in the proportion of 8-2. Lee Jun was ready for mutually beneficial cooperation. He also suggested Ji help in solving one of her clan's problems, elimination parasites that joined them. The girl was surprised where it came from. Lee Jun found out about it. The boy knew about the close contact between her clan members and the Divine Fist clan. He explained that the Divine Fist clan had been searching for many years. The bloody scroll that was with him. Jia didn't believe that Lee really had the scroll. Juna. The guy replied that almost. There were some information on where to look for it. After their meetings, Jia went to Han Min-sun. She handed it to him information from Lee Juna. Han Min-sun and before suspected that who transmits information enemy clan. The man was confused. It's interesting that Han Min-sun is going to undertake. Solution was obvious. He was going to stick to the terms Li Juna. Hosu is working hard-trained new skills. Li Jun, especially for him, opened the gate to his room. He let the boy practice his secretly shelter. It had been long time, and Hosu showed significant successes. Li Jun realized that magic that is in the air helping the guy master heavenly sacrifice. The guy, too, was going to pump up mind skill combat arts. The teacher asked why that intends start. Li Jun replied that pump-up skills. Such answer amused the old man. Li Jun decided resort to trickery and ask him help. That turned the guy's attention to one skill, strength. He could greatly simplify Jun's task. With his help, Li Jun has reached a new level faster and easier. The energy of the god of war entered his body. Her quantity went off the scale. The system warned of danger. Li Jun felt sick and stopped. The guy realized that if this continues, he will die. This was going contrary to his future plans. He managed to increase his spiritual strength and stabilize situation. Indicators Li Juna grew up and he got new skill, tactical clairvoyance. He was alive and he had it worked out overcome danger. Next, all he had left to do was master upper jong. The teacher noticed that the boy was still far from this. All that was left was Li Junu. This is rejoice his own new skills. Every time I see something similar happen to the guy, curiosity as to how much his teacher is strong. He wanted to go home and rest a little. The next day, it happened awarding students for participating in the intermediate exam. The director congratulated Hack Gina with a whiny face second place. First, the place went to Li Jun and his team. The director suggested them choose reward. Them suggested go to the museum where were stored rare exhibits. Ryabyata guys were nervous. They didn't know that choose. Li Jun diligently, I was wondering which artifact was better choose. He advised Heg Jin choose sword on second floor. The guy didn't understand why to him old rusty sword. Li Jun explained that this thing from gate. This sword is much stronger than the one possessed Hack Jin. This one information with a guy shared his mentor. Hek Jin accepted such explanation. Han Minsun brought students into the room with artifacts. He allowed it take each one to his own discretion. The guy's eyes ran away from the quantity treasures that were there. Li Jun didn't give them due choice on one's own. He advised them to put back all the things they had taken. The director carefully I watched what artifacts Li Jun chose for his teams. He noted that these objects perfect correspond abilities guys and was surprised by his insight. B received icy gloves. Earlier, they belonged strong to the giant woman. Hey G, Needles Yin Yang and Sunho, a red invisibility cloak. For Jia, he has had special artifact. This was soft sword whip. Young woman expressed doubt. This is weapon it was considered dangerous and difficult to use. Li Jun explained to her that true mastery is not only strength and speed, but also training body. He was, I'm sure that with this sword, Jia will be able to achieve unprecedented heights. Intrigued, girl decided try. Hek Jin was satisfied his own weapons. It to him perfect, it was suitable. He asked Li Juna, what subject is that? Chose for myself and was surprised to see ordinary hammer. Hek Jin decided that his friend had sacrificed a good weapon for them. However, Li himself, Jun, understood that this hammer is not so simple. It had hidden by force with the help of which Can was destroy Lake Chungchung. The subject is unique powers that few people know about suspects. At the same time, Li Xin continued their training, blaming Li Juna in her failure at the exam. He felt for him deep hatred. Unexpectedly, his training interrupted. He was informed that Emperor turned on Li Juna into the competition of heirs and appointed him as a participant third expeditions to Lake Chungchung. Li Xin didn't understand why father insists on them competition, after all considered Li Juna weak. His mentor suggested that Li Jun could become stronger with the help of Magic Ball and suggested Li Xin receive the same artifact, giving him the power that he had been dreaming about it for a long time. The day of the attack on Lake Chongcheng arrived, in which participated representatives of many clans. The public was not very happy to see Li Xina. The guy was angry and barely myself held back. To Li Junu, on the contrary, a crowd was favorably disposed. He was even given the nickname Kvichan. The boy explained to the teacher that became popular after incident with the fairy field. Friends with enthusiasm met Li Juna. As he passed by, Li Xin looked at him with disdain, looked at the guy. Li Jun noted that looks like how villain. When gate opened, participants' expeditions entered Lake Chungcheng. In Li Junu it came notification that he is being watched Master Vrat. Such he had been receiving notifications since Sinyavka became owner-owned gate. At the meeting before the start of the tests, the participants greeted leader third groups. Tae-un. He warned that tasks will be deadly and survive only for real strong. First trial, it began with an attack by a horde of monsters, Nagas. To move on to the next stage, their need to was destroy. Li Xin fought actively. His clan members provided the guy's safety. Li Jun noticed that fast spends internal energy and asked the question of how he will cope further. At this moment, behind Li Junu, a monster crept up, but Jia saved him by destroying the monster with a sword whip. Tian watched the battle, noting successes some students. He is skeptical related to Li Junu, considering his abilities exaggerated. Soon monsters were destroyed, and the group moved on to the second test. The test is crossing the river on stone steps ledges with traps. If you stumble or falling into the water meant imminent death, that did trial more dangerous. Tian, realizing the seriousness of its situations, activated ability that for half an hour increased moisture resistance participants by 30%. First volunteered to cross the river participants from the Iron Blood clan. Pak Chung agreed without hesitation. Go first. Tian believed that her bravery borders on stupidity. He wished her luck. Pak Chun, there was a road Li Junu, and he already came up with a plan to help her. The girl stepped onto the stone. I realized that if you stand for too long, you might drown. Pak Chun jumped from stone to stone, quickly cutting down distance. Li Jun, taking advantage connection, gave her instructions to stand on the stone, which had the shape of an arrowhead. He explained to her that patterns geysers indicate safe way across the river. Pak Chun, having received an important information, passed it on to the rest of the clan, and they were able to successfully cross river, avoiding dangers. Tae-un, who was watching this, was stunned. He himself knew about the presence patterns, but deliberately did not report it to no one, having decided that advantage should be only their clan. Next to the river set off participants from groups Tae-una, ready to pass the test as successfully as made a clan in front of them. The man ordered follow him. Li Jun knew that them also successfully pass this, the test will fail. Situation complicated. Stone protrusions began to go underwater, and rain began to fall on people's heads from above. Spears. Tian realized that finish close but deadly, the rain didn't leave chances take cover. The man realized that the test turned out to be much more complicated than it originally was assumed. Some people were able to be transported across the river, but many were injured and found themselves in serious condition. Pak Chung offered her help, but Taeyeon refused her proposals, having decided that he'll handle it himself. He was informed that in the end survived about 50 people, including those who was seriously wounded. Information about this fast spread, because what was happening on the lake was actively filmed on camera. Spectators gathered to follow the development events. With great interest watched what was happening, waiting for who from participants will continue further your way in this dangerous testing. When the Divine Fist clan representative asked about the following volunteer, Li Jun volunteered go together with the Shingiji clan. This caused the outrage of his own clan, but Jia supported his decision, knowing that Li Jun can conduct them safe. She trusted him, realizing that the guy has unique abilities anticipate dangers. Thanks to instructions Li Juna, Shingiji clan passed the river without losses. This made Tae wary. Una, who suspected dishonest game, after all their clan had a hard time crossing. Li Jun watched the rest guys. He knew that further the crossing will become more difficult. He didn't have it, it's up to them lives. When it was the Divine Fist clan's turn, Li Jun and the teacher noticed a dangerous air coming from Li Xin. Energy. That looked like strangely radiating unknown energy. During crossings per group, werewolf sharks suddenly attacked. Red-ranked monsters that usually meet at the gate higher class. Li Xin was surprised their appearance in this place. Monsters are fast dealt with the Big One quantity clan members. Uncle saved Li Xin, and now there were 2 of them left. He understood that he would not be able to cope with the invasion. Monsters. A mini-boss has appeared Sharkman, who his own roar increased strength and speed all sharks. Li Junu was I wonder how they will cope with the critical situation. Suddenly he gets unexpected an alert that surprised him. Li Jun found out that in this place is activated passive fear. He did not understand the reason for this. Phenomena. The system also reported that werewolf sharks and even the sharkmen became wary treat the owner forbidden gate. Li Jun took advantage of skill passive fear and forced monsters retreat, thereby saving life guys. For execution of this tasks, he received rank V in killers and double reward. Taeyeon expressed dissatisfaction with the fact that the clans there was no Iron Blood or Shingiji losses. At that time, like other groups, died a lot of people. He stated that among participants, there is the one who hides important information and demanded explanations. Lee Jun suggested split into two groups. One goes to the water cave, the other to the glacial gorge. This will help to clear each other of suspicion. Taeyeon agreed, choosing water cave, counting her safer. Lee Jun took it upon himself eastern part glacial gorges. He knew that exactly where went Taeyeon with the guys. Hidden big danger, gigantic spider, monster enemy sharkman. The guy helped Park Chung rise and them group moved forward. Stopping for a rest, Lee Jun explained guys what their path is safer. He knew that when they get to the place, sharks will run away because they give in the influence of his skill fear. Them was coming will face the enemy sharkman, a spider monster that emits freezing cold. The guy knew the shortest route across the bottom of the icy lake and could use the artifact to activate it. To friends need to was to him trust and cover in danger situations. Having rested, they moved further along the snowy gorge. Lee Jun fast discovered necessary to him place. This was the shortest route to the exit. Guys were scared. They didn't understand that Jun is going to do. Another problem has arisen. The guys are surrounded by sharks monsters. Jia ordered everyone prepare for battle, but Lee Jun assured all that they won't attack. He hit the ice again to get what you want came. Exactly, Blacksmith dispelled the myth of invincibility glacial gorges. All it started with the blow of his hammer on the sword. It led to the emergence cracks in the ice. Icy surface collapsed where rested polar icy water. From the blow Lee Juna, ice again cracked and split into many parts. The frightened students did not understand actions Lee Juna. The guy asked trust and follow him. His friends, following his instructions, jumped into the water after him. The water was not polar but ordinary. Temperatures. They emerged into a huge cave that was hidden underwater. Pak Chun demanded explanations. Lee Jun assured her there was a surprise. He led them to the secret passage leading to the boss. Lee Jun, having destroyed the door with a hammer blow, entered inside. For discovering the secret entrance, he received reward in the form of additional points. Inside deposits of crystals filled with huge energy. Nobody from guys, I've never seen such a quantity before stones. Jia knew that every of them are worth huge quantity money. They couldn't take them with you. Lee Jun promised to come back for them later, destruction boss. In his absence, they had time get ready. Meanwhile, the group Teuna and the members of the Divine Flower clan found themselves in the lair spider. To save yourself, Taeyeon ordered to use for his people rescue crystals or artifacts that allow get out at a dangerous moment. Activated them, they ran away, leaving the rest to their fate destinies. One of remaining participants possessing, I decided to add another crystal, share them with the Divine Flower clan. Understanding that help wait nowhere, guys gathered their strength and prepared to fight the spiders, deciding protect yourself and find out Lee's fate Juna. Lee Jun felt strong, energetic presence that Master defined as Huangbo Se, the power of a deity. Usually by her could to own only his father, and Li Xin, although he studied, never mastered by her fully. Lee Jun thought about who more able to do it so skillfully used this power, and remembered about Sa Huana, but even he didn't have it such power. Try and comprehend what's happening, Lee Jun decided, look around. The teacher reminded Lee Jun that the powerful force he felt could belong to the Golden One, a being that once brought up Master. However, Lee Jun understood that over the past years the creature could not remain in its original form. In this time, Sa Huang and his group courageously fought with spiders. One of the monsters grabbed him with a web, but using all his strength, Sa Huang managed to break free and land a punch. Lee Jun. I watched this without feeling at all prayers. He guessed that his uncle and his allies had escaped with the help of Talisman Return, leaving subordinates as bait. The guy condemned this act, considering it vile and dishonest. Sa Huang, having lost forces after long battles, ordered his own comrades to leave, declaring that he will break through, he will sacrifice his way to them by yourself. This was his last order as their commander, but others members the groups had no intention of abandoning him. One of guys decided to rush into attack first, ready die for the sake of salvation the rest. However, at the last moment, Lee stopped him and pulled him back. June. He appeared before the exhausted fighters like last chance for salvation. His appearance caused everyone astonishment. I realized that everyone was injured and needed help, but the guys ended medicines. Because Lee Jun didn't take it with him medicinal means, He decided protect everyone until they won't get out from dangerous places. Activated divine technique, Li Jun attacked the monsters with incredible speed and accuracy. His strength was astonishing. He destroyed one enemy after another, leaving no trace chances for their survival. Sa Huang, with admiration, noted that this is the power of the Heavenly King, so much powerful and unusual. After he asked about the battle Li Juna about his technique, not believing that was witness manifestation's divine forces, Li Jun calmly replied that possession by her accident. He also noted that showed equipment specially for Sahwana to prove that he is on his side should be strong and reliable people, not those who abandoned their own. Li Jun suggested Sa Huanu join him, but that one asked time to think. He hoped that will tell to others about his abilities. The guy knew that Sa Huang faithful only to his father and hardly will agree take his side. His main purpose was to weaken Li Xin by depriving him of important support, which would have been a blow to him. Master hoped that his actions will lead to the desired result. Li Jun, although he was absorbed in thoughts, I couldn't help but think about how things are affairs outside. At that moment, a figure appeared in front of the crowd of people. Te-un. He looked tired but confident and, without losing time, stated that the third attack on the cave failed. Contacting participants' missions was interrupted. They could not be saved. He suggested that the rest, rather in total, died in battle. Crowd, I was glad that although Te-un remained alive, people expressed their gratitude and T himself I felt it relief that he was accepted favorably. The man thanked all gathered for support and care. Near memorial, people prayed and paid their respects at the plaque erected in memory of the dead deceased. The discovery came as a surprise to everyone gate, from which appeared Li Jun. Previously, Jia and Park Chun organized searching for a guy without knowing where he disappeared to. Li Jun appeared on time and explained that soldiers Tenjun were abandoned to them too needed help. He said that the gate would open in 30 minutes and asked all be ready. Li Jun decided go into the water alone so that their wake up. Jia was worried because the lake was protected heavy in spirit. This was the reason why Li Jun decided go there alone. Leaving the girl jacket, he dived into the water. Master suggested him, protect yourself with technique single purity. Thanks to this, Li Jun got to the right places safe and sound. The area seemed familiar to the teacher. He assumed that there might be golden. Li Jun discovered that the power he felt was indeed belonged to the Golden One, ancient turtle-raised master. Golden, long time left alone, learned sage and expressed the joy of reunion. He didn't die, but that's all this time traveled trying to find his creator. The search was unsuccessful success, therefore Golden in the end returned to the cave. Li Jun. I was glad to meet you, but I was worried. So that open gates, need destroy boss, and kill the Golden One it is forbidden. Sage calmed the guy down, saying that he had already thought of a plan. They discussed detailed opening plan gate. Master suggested simple the option is to go through the gate, but first it was necessary to obtain the consent of the fairies, which they promised help return home. Li Jun went to the fairies and found that they got along well with the mice on the new territories. The fairies, fearing that they will evict you, they themselves asked you to stay. Li Jun, I was glad. It was with this he came to them with a proposal. Returning to the teacher, Li Jun reported that fairies satisfied new place. That suggested to fix this one territory as his possession. Li Jun refused the blooming garden in favor of a new location. For this he received a reward cherished items. Magic stone and round dragon crown. Gold recommended use maximum cooling water for absorption force's ancient object. Li Jun dialed water that was going to give away Sinyavka. They said goodbye to each other, Golden, and off we went home. After leaving the dungeon, Li Jun together with friends came out from portal. On site there met journalists and passers-by surprised their return. People wanted to know how they managed to get out. Li Jun briefly explained that inside happened serious disagreements and division into two camps. He noted that some participants abandoned their people at their mercy destinies. Ti-un, enraged by Li's words, Juna tried to attack him with a weapon. Li Jun he dodged, but the man continued attack. As a result of the attack, around collapsed many buildings. People were calling for help. Li Jun squeezed spear stronger and, gathering all his strength, rushed into the attack so that protect yourself and your friends. The battle between Li Jun and his opponent were destructive. The man was inflicting powerful strikes, using all his strength and fury, but Li Jun calmly repelled attacks without showing any signs, no drops excitement. Li Jun held the spear and looked carefully followed the enemy's movements. Suddenly, he noticed his own father among viewers that it is slightly surprised. Realizing that the fight was being broadcast and the father came look personally, Li Jun decided to demonstrate something impressive. Meanwhile, Jia and the rest guys helped wounded, providing give them first aid. Li Jun gathered all his energy into one point and released her with a powerful blow. Father with admiration watched his son, marveling at his abilities create such crushing force. There was a blow so powerful that destroyed many buildings. Nobody of the people did not understand that happened. Taewoon was defeated. After the fight, father approached Li Jun who suggested returning to the family. However, Li Jun refused, saying that he had already been accepted into Shingiji. He didn't see meaning discuss this as further. Father, despite the refusal, was I'm sure that sooner or later late son will return to his family. At the meeting of the clan heads, they discussed who will carry responsibility for the tragedy on the lake. Everyone was there unanimous in one thing. The clans of the king and the gods betrayed the union, and this, it is forbidden, was to be left without consequences. Chapters. These clans tried justify oneself by claiming that not only they, the Iron Sword clan, is also to blame, was under suspicion because it is his representatives first successfully crossed river. The head of the clan wanted to object, but remembered conversation with daughter. She confessed to her father that without help, Li Jun, their clan would not have been able to pass the test and remained would be on the other side rivers. The man understood that their clan really looks like suspiciously, but he couldn't open admit help Juna. Chapter's clans agreed that treason their comrades it is forbidden justify. They decided to organize press conference and publicly apologize to the people. The Divine Blood clan leader has returned home. His sister was waiting for him there. She was outraged that the man is going to bring Li Jun home. Woman promised that she wouldn't do nothing if this will happen. In despair, she turned to her nanny for support. The nanny who I was with her since birth, I was able to her calm down. She assured her, what take care of Li Jun? Guys gathered on the street, impatiently awaiting the start of the press conference. They discussed latest successes Li Jun, enthusiastically sharing impressions and analyzing his achievements. Guys, feeling pride for his friend, we are glad that his talent has finally become noticeable wide to the public. Li Jun, despite all the attention that to him paid attention, decided not to watch broadcast. He preferred to remain on the sidelines, not wanting to expose myself additional pressure. At the press conference, chapters clans Sinlik and Pewangdo took over responsibility for the tragedy, apologizing to the people for the mistakes their own relatives. Journalists asked questions, trying to understand why exactly apologize clans, for betrayal or for the death of participants. The heads admitted their guilt and announced that at the upcoming festival will present a gift as a token of atonement. This news surprised all. Li Jun, hearing about this, realized that future changed. He remembered how in another life watched the tournament. His winner became the Dragon Sword. As a reward, he received a black card zones. Jiangbodo is a valuable artifact needed to enter the gate of the Blood God's tomb. Now Li Jun noticed that reward changed. This time the winner promised Demon Blade. He didn't understand why. Events accepted another turn and there was puzzled change awards. Li Jun. I asked the teacher for information and he confirmed that Demon Blade, also a unique and valuable artifact. Despite his doubts, the guy decided focus on current affairs and went to his dungeon. There he was met by Sinyavka, who joyfully ran out towards. He brought to him ice water from dungeons. Sinyavka, having absorbed the water, began to rise mine level. This process accompanied suffering creatures. Li Jun praised him for his endurance. Sinyavka's rank increased. Soon the system sent a message that the owner of the Golden Region reached a new level and received Opportunity Unit Gates. The system suggested connect Lair Cheongju and the Heavenly Lake. Li Jun, who had previously been unaware of such opportunities, decided try Unification. The teacher was surprised, noted the appearance of the Golden One in this place. The system suggested Li Jun give new name United Lair. After some thought, he decided call it the Forbidden Region of the Four Sacred Lands. The system notified Li Jun on transformation gates to a higher form. Owners Sacred Gate were angry. Level their hostility grew up. Li Jun didn't understand that this so. He turned to the teacher for clarification. That suggested that speech maybe go about spiritual animals. Blue Dragon, Bengal Tiger, Red Falcon, Brown the Turtle, and the Snake are divine creatures that have received hatred. Well, Li Jun I was surprised why they relate to him hostile, because he has only named your own ownership their name. Sa Huang came to the owner and stated that their group no longer wishes to serve Li Xin. The clan understood that Sa Huang, valuable the person who would become a support in the future. Exactly, so he put his group next to Li Xinom, hoping for their support. But the plan failed. The head of the clan gave permission Sa Huanu leave, which greatly surprised him. To questions about Li Jun, Sa Huang replied that found out only about that took possession knew the technique of the Heavenly King. This indicated that Li had Juna's mentor, but it was not possible to find out his identity. The clan realized that if that will take possession technology development emperor, then he will be able to surpass even himself. Now his goal is to get Li back, Juna in the family. Li Jun checked Sinyavka's characteristics and found that his abilities rose to level A. Sharks recognized Sinyavka's subordinates were forced to agree with his superiority. Li Jun hoped that they will be able to get along well. At night, he went to a meeting at one of underground establishments. He was attacked upon entering, guard, but Li Jun easily defeated him. The guy was stopped by a man, the golden old man, the manager of the underground world. He apologized for his behavior, subordinate, and asked Li Juna forgiveness. News about the sale of rare artifacts at auction rapidly spread. People were discussing that the cost of one of them was 1.5 billion, and were amazed when saw name seller, Defector. Li Jun met the golden old man and immediately suggested cooperation. The old man was surprised to learn that Defector turned out to be Li Jun. He is wary treated the proposal as suspected the guy of being a spy. The old man was afraid that Li Jun maybe be connected to the family and passed on information enemies. However, Li Jun assured him of safety cooperation, reminding about the upcoming tournament Celestial Warriors, where he will represent the Shingiji clan. This convinced the old man, and he decided to agree to cooperate. Meanwhile, Kim Tae-hyung tried run away, realizing that let down family, and failed to complete the task. He was stopped human from the clan that reminded of unfulfilled obligations. Because of Kim Tae-hyung's failure and disgrace families, there was no mercy. He was killed. Li Jun decided to go to the Garden of Dreams to meet the Fairy King and find out more about Sinyavka. He wondered why owners gate from black zones show towards him hostility. Master supported his idea, believing that the Fairy King could give useful answers. During the lesson, the students learned a shocking news. Kim Tae-hyung was found dead. Presumably, he was killed by a monster from Gate. Li Jun straight away realized that this was reprisal with sides of the clan. The rest of the students were shocked and cried. But Li Jun remained cold-blooded, noting to himself, naivety, young people. Dokvi found that in Amsan appeared valuable artifact. They were urgently to go there, so that managed to intercept it. Li Jun again secretly went to Amsan. Earlier, he asked the golden old man for the best rice and wheat seeds wholesale, explaining that wants to do rural economy. He was going to breathe strength into the hearth Cheongjo, which was in the desert. His henchmen completed good work, and instead deserts, now flowers, grew there. Li Jun was, I am happy with the result and that everything turned out as it should. It is forbidden fast. The old man warned him that transportation could take time. They agreed that cargo will be delivered to Busousan. The man was surprised the choice of such a place, but I didn't argue. He also prepared a disguise item for the guy so that Li Jun could safely visit their place. That day in Amsan passed auction at which put up rare weapon, Chanmado, which meant chopping evil fate. Li Jun knew that in the future this weapon will end up at Dokvi from devilish cult, therefore decided not to miss it. Dokvi was, I am sure, that to him enough money to buy Changmado. He was I wonder where Asman got it from, appeared such valuable item. Using the disguise item, June appeared at the auction in the guise of the Defector. The bidding has begun. Dokvi offered 700 million for Changmado, but the Defector suggested 2 billion at once, having won the auction. This made me really angry, Dokvi, and he decided find out personality mysterious buyer. Master was dissatisfied, purchased Changmado, considering it a dangerous artifact. Li Jun convinced him that weapon can use it for good. When he demonstrated the sword, the master agreed with its value. When filling energy, it was transformed into an S-class weapon. Li Jun noticed surveillance and demanded that the pursuers appeared. This turned out to be Dokvi with the gang. They came take away purchased weapon. The guy was intent take away Changmado by force. Li Jun was there intent give what belonged to him. Dokvi felt fear. He ordered security take away from the guy Changmado and others artifacts that he has. They rushed at Li. Juna with a weapon in her hands. The guy dealt with his opponents in no time. Goal remained only Dokvi. The guy was shaking with fear. He asked the guy not to approach him. Suddenly that disappeared and Dokvi decided that he had been pardoned. By using teleport, Lee Jun moved and grabbed the man by the head. He found a Dokvi valuable thing that hid. This was protective amulet that used at a critical moment. Jun took it from the guy. He hasn't figured it out yet. We'll do with the most Dokvi. As a result, he tied the man and his guards to a tree. That's where they were found. Authorities. Federation was going to conduct an investigation into whoever this did. Lee Jun went to his possessions. There he was, happily met Ho-Su. He brought the guy another gift. Ho-Su opened it and found there is a sword inside. He was its not clear good attitude with sides Lee Juna, but that one acted in private interests. In the future he might need it capabilities Ho-Su. The guy was very grateful to Juna for all the help provided them help. Jun went home. He was informed that ordered the goods arrived for them. This meant that he was in for it. Job. Madam visited Jinhua with a request to allow her to find and eliminate Lee Juna. She found out that the guy left school and was moving to Busousan. She wished her good luck. Li Xin, her. The son was surprised to hear that the nanny could fight. He thought that she an ordinary maid. Mother explained that Jinhua is not ordinary man. Her brought grandfather Li Xin after Purification Gate in Red Zone. The guy was scared, considering creatures from there by monsters. His mother assured him that they the same people, just a little bit different other essence. Meanwhile, Li Jun was in ruined Busousan. Once upon a time he was the capital, but now turned into a monster zone. Union of 15 families could not return the city. It was accepted the solution is to simply hold back monsters inside. Li Jun remembered how previously it was considered weak, but now he has become stronger and was ready to fight for yourself and others. The guy organized transportation goods to Busousan because this place was deserted. His assistants, fairies, mice, and sharks quickly coped with the loading. Li Jun praised Tagura for good work. They too all should have come back. Suddenly, Li Jun felt an unpleasant smell and realized that he was being watched. There was Jinhua with security. Li Junu, she seemed too confident. He already had one, he had a plan ready. He just wanted to try it out in action. Woman was surprised by his carelessness. She was, I'm sure that today will bring the guy's head to his madam. In the eyes, Li Jun was not their fear. He was calm and confident. The men were alarmed by the guy's appearance. Li Jun knew that this a woman is not as simple as it seems. She was one of the strongest masters of the clan. The guy got tired of it. Wait until they will do. He ran quickly, taking away mercenaries for themselves. There they were waiting in advance, prepared trap. Later, the monster pulled the second man into the portal. Some of the men still caught up with him in the alley. But the guy entered the portal and disappeared. He went to his possessions. Jinhua thought the boy got scared and ran away. She ordered everyone to prepare for enter the gate, follow the guy. Li Jun was in his gates. The system alerted him to the intrusion, enemies. He closed the exit behind them and got ready. Greet guests. Jinhua saw that they were trapped. The woman didn't realize that is happening. They saw how ISO all sides they were surrounded by monsters. The guy bragged that the gate is his territory, and he has it too, his own army. Li Jun gave the order to attack. Squad fighters' demons rushed into battle. Li Jun watched the fight. He assessed advantage their own guys. Jinhua's entire squad was dead, but it didn't stop her. Woman was intentional contain the promise I made to my madam. Li Jun, I noticed that in this fight her adversary it won't be him. She had to fight with Sinyavka. Even though Jinhua was bloody a witch, but she can't cope with such a beast. Bloody witches are creatures that killed many awakened. They drank blood from their tell. Now she was on her knees before him. Jinhua tried to find out how Li Jun managed to do it. The guy shares secrets was not intended. He knew that the woman killed his mother. Before she died, Mom hid little Jun under bed to save to him life. She herself could not resist. Li Jun knew that any death for Jinhua will not enough. The only thing is that she could have been hurt by the death of her master, who she was true. He ordered creatures deal with a woman. Master asked Li Juna about her mother. The guy didn't tell before him about that she died. He shared that after her death, she constantly beat him and mocked him. He didn't tell anyone about this, not even Hack Jin. The teacher was nearby and supported the boy. Li Junu was, it's nice that there is something in the world, at least someone who knows his secret. She called Jia. She invited the guy to a joint training. Them to all was I need his help. It's past time. Juna was still not there. Jia began to get nervous. Guys, sincerely, we hoped that the guy would come soon and calm us down. Lee Jun came. I met him from the very threshold, Jia with a sword in her hands. He apologized and explained that cooked training equipment. This news slightly reduced anger girls. The guy had a plan. How did they're all stronger? Madam, I was nervous and couldn't find a place for myself. I haven't heard from Jinhua for a long time. News. There was no maid nearby who could calm down. He came to see her henchman with news. Lady Jinhua and her squad ghostly, the killers have disappeared. Latest, the news said that they headed to Busousan, preparing an ambush, but suddenly disappeared out of sight. The lady ordered to turn all of Busousan upside down to find Jinhua, but the man assumed that they dead. He decided that disappearance associated with the Discovery Portal. After all, could open it only Lord. This has made me angry woman. Lee Jun enjoyed good weather while his students carried heavy stones. He used a training method that he himself had once practiced, under mentoring masters. The guy was convincing guys, don't give up halfway and see things through to the end. When they finished carrying the stones, Lee Jun suggested do more 4 laps to school and back. Guys, at the beginning they were indignant, but under management, Lee Juna continued workout. During a short rest, Lee Jun received systemic new notification skill, beginner instructor, and was surprised. He didn't expect to receive a teaching award, friends. Gradually, he realized that exactly this what did the master mean when spoke about enlightenment. Workout continued daily, becoming all tougher. With time, guys started notice fruit their own efforts. B received a unique branch skill is vision, which allows time some goals at the same time as members' alliance. G found ability treat deadly wounds, rare skill healer. Ho mastered equipment double swordsmanship, increasing the speed and effectiveness of his attacks. Everyone was there, stunned their own achievements. Lee Jun realized that his training was not only temper physically, but also helped disclose hidden talents guys. He noticed that the abilities of his students were amazing, especially considering rarity similar skills even among alliance of 15 families. Master noted that it became possible thanks to the right choice program training. Lee Jun decided find out what the skill was received by Jia. The girl demonstrated her qualification as the Queen of Swords, which meant an S-rank skill. This stunned everyone, including Lee himself, Juna. Everyone present could not believe what was happening, because the result was absolutely unexpected. He knew that Jia diligently trained, but didn't expect that her results will turn out to be so impressive. The students were overcrowded with gratitude to Lee Junu, calling him her savior. They understood that exactly thanks to his mentorship, they awakened their capabilities. Even Jia expressed her sincere gratitude. Lee Jun suggested continue reinforced training before the Sky Competition Combat Arts. The guys are enthusiastic, supported his initiative, deciding give it your all. About them, we learned about training at school. The guy looked embarrassed, tried to explain that his goal is to protect guys and prepare them to the competition. Tinjini expressed your own wish train together with them. During one from training, I was watching the boys and noticed 3 remaining participants, B, G, and Ho. After warm-ups, they started free training, during which were practiced 10 steps of divine art. The guys showed excellent results that made Tinjini reconsider your own opinion about them. She was surprised how awakened E rank were able to demonstrate such capabilities. By sending their home, I realized that underestimated their potential. Meanwhile, the teachers were discussing progress guys and noted that it is connected with training under management Lee Juna. Having heard this is what Tinjini decided find out all personally and began to follow the training of the guy and his friends. Having seen their methodology and achievements, she decided join them to adopt this experience and pass it on to others. Lee Jun agreed on condition that place training he chooses himself. He also asked, keep it a secret. The next day, the team went to Han Jia's house, where young woman suggested use training center of its own families. At the entrance, their honorable, the family's servants met them. When Jia came home, she found out that the father, the clan chairman, is there. The man was glad to see daughter and her friends. Special he paid attention Lee Junu, calling him his own future son-in-law, then confused Ji-yu. Before leaving, the head of the clan gave permission youth train as much as you like. He asked Lee Juna went to see him before leaving. Jia apologized for her father's words, but Lee Jun calmly perceived this, knowing that the head of the clan was straightforward and honest a person. Despite the high position that devoted more attention security countries than interests, family, and clan. When training started, Lee Jun announced that today they will be work on the killer aura. The lesson turned out to be quite exhausting. The guys there was practically no strength left. They were fully exhausted, as if squeezed out lemons. Tinjin couldn't understand how an 18-year-old could schoolboy such power. Jia noticed a significant gain Aura's Lee Juna, who once upon a time there was much weaker and less perfect. Now it seemed like he was holding back inside ferocious beast. Jia realized that underestimated his progress and her own possibilities. It seemed to her that she will be able to catch up Lee Juna, if will persistently to train. But now it has become clear that there's too much between them great. She continued give it your all until forces did not leave her completely, not wanting to lag behind. When Lee Jun announced the completion training, the guys didn't understand how fight his aura. Sunho expressed hope that there will be no more such classes. What for Lee Jun assured that on this, they will finish so that avoid injury. He praised them for their efforts. Tinjini, distracted thinking about training, I didn't notice how the students started to ask questions about the technique of the 10 steps of the sacred art. I realized that Lee's method Juna dangerous, and any one careless step can turn into tragedy. Realizing the difficulties of his path, she made a promise to herself grow as a teacher and continue education. The day of the competition has arrived. To school a car pulled up. From her came out Park Chung and Hak Jin's grandfather as legendary swordmaster, awakened S-rank. He was welcomed Chairman Han Min's son and teachers. They were glad visit such an important guest. Grandfather wished to inspect the school, asking his grandchildren to show him around excursion. The man felt presence creatures from other dimensions and decided more details study the surrounding environment. Meanwhile has begun last exam competition's celestial combat arts. Tinjini explained guys what competition will resemble a lottery, and each student would have a chance to win. The main prize was the demon sword. Guys were confident of victory Lee Juna, but Tinjini reminded that significant rank increase too will bring awards. Hak Jin tried knockdown Lee Juna was knocked down, but he easily dodged. Pak Chun, I watched this with a smile. Wu Lee Juna called interest man what was next to them. The guys introduced him his own grandfather. The guy immediately realized that this is one of legendary masters of the swords of the Iron Ridge, and one of the 10 strongest awakened in the world. The man shook Lee's hand. Juna, he couldn't feel who this guy is actually case. The old man knew that talk about Lee Jun does not calm down, because this guy was his grandson's friend and the one who failed to inherit clan genealogy. He didn't understand how a guy like that can have so incredible energy, especially considering that even the art of the heavenly Thunder King did not allow him feel its nature. This it seemed impossible, and he began to suspect that Lee Juna, there is hidden power. The guy noticed close sight men and asked what case. That assured that he was simply interested friends their own grandchildren. However, Lee Jun guessed that the man was trying to find out the nature of its energy. Master explained that ring on finger Lee Juna, capable protected from any external impacts, even the greatest masters. Heavenly art that used Lee Jun, it was unique. It was based on demonic energy is pure and powerful. If a man would understand its nature, then he would accept Lee Juna for the demon. Grandfather suggested the guy to take participation in sparring, and Lee Jun replied that it was his turn will arrive by lunchtime. The man promised attentively watch his fight. Taking a look board, Lee Jun saw that he was the first rival will become freshman from the Mandogam clan. Quite a strong opponent, but still inferior to him. In this time, for it came up Hosu said that his rival will awaken from the Puwango clan. Lee Jun got upset and asked, is it necessary Lee Hosu to participate in the competition? Understanding that ownership divine the art of the sword Puwango in the hands of an unknown awakened maybe create problems, Lee Jun forced was to ask a friend to refuse the fight. Hosu assured him that ready to retreat because it was important for him only prove their skills before Lee Jun. The guy was thankful to him for understanding. Suddenly Lee Jun felt like he was being watched. He's fast took away Hosu. Lee Jun fast opened a portal and hid the guy from danger. The man who was watching them felt energy similar to combat arts of the Puwango clan, but the trace sharp broke off. He decided that I made a mistake. Lee Juna was invited by friends. They reported that looking for him because of the fight announcement, Jia Shud was fight with Park Chung. He remembered that in the past life I was rooting for Park Chung, but now understood that a friend's support can to upset Jiyu. Deciding to take the risk, Lee Jun wanted to do things differently this time. He didn't see how from behind him Park Chung came up. I asked who he was going to vote for gets sick. Wu Li-jun was not their choice, and he is forced was say that for her. Having heard this as Jia, I was upset. Meanwhile, competition Celestial Combat Arts, it has begun. Participants entered the huge arena. Pak Chun, I was glad that Jia, her rival. She wanted to warn her so that she wouldn't get close to June. She liked the guy. She was offer. As a result of the battle, they will decide who will get the guy. Angry Jia rushed first to attack. She was intentional to decide everything now. They emanated strong energy. Li Jun realized that girls decided play seriously. Pak Chun rushed at Jia. By using, she parried the blow with her sword and whip. Park Chun doesn't intend to give up so easily. The girl could sacrifice everything, anything but June. Jia, also not intentional, was make concessions. Pak Chung noticed what unusual technology owns Jia. I wonder what June her taught. From the collision girls happened huge flash. The teacher noted that for his age, Pak Chong Fine owns 10-step technique. But Li Jun also trained Ji-yu and knew how much persistent and maybe to be. Outcome their confrontations by was unclear. Time is up. The match was on. Completed. The crowd was discussing it heatedly. Results of the battle. Everyone agreed that clans Shingiji and the Iron Bloody Sword await light future. Master only nodded, noting that it's obvious. Friends noticed Jia and immediately came over to support her. The result, the fight ended in a draw. Jia I was looking for with a glance Juna, but soon I understood. That one disappeared. Meanwhile, Pak Chun Samwas was concerned about his absence and ordered find him urgently. She needs to find out who he was rooting for. While everyone was looking for him, the guy was enjoying the festival and eating sweets. Suddenly he collided with Sa Huang, who also surprised seeing him. Li Jun didn't understand that here does Heavenly King, after all, that always guarded Li Shina. Sa Huang, with a smile, explained that he had a day off as a rare occasion, after all. He usually didn't allow himself to do that. Li Jun noticed that Sa Huang, he was not alone. Tin Jinny was next to him. Realizing that they found out, she nodded affably. Li Jun instantly realized that these two date and decided not to interfere. He continued to wander around the festival, but without missing out a couple out of sight. Li Jun, I thought, if Tin Jinny succeeds get closer to Sa Huan, he can do it, use her influence to lure the Heavenly King to his side. He remembered that there is unique ability that maybe interests Tin Jinny, how teacher and trainer. Li Jun was impatient. Wait the next day to bring your idea to life. Meanwhile, a woman came to the monk in the temple. She is worried, reported that Bloody Witch without a trace disappeared. That asked about the real reason her visit. Woman explained that as awards at competition, Celestial Combat Arts exhibited demonic sword. To the monk, it sounded like madness is so a powerful and dangerous artifact turned out to be a prize in a children's duel. He realized that need to urgently get the sword. After all, their home, the goal is to prepare the world for the coming Maju. The monk reminded woman that the first priority is to bring their lord into this world. This time they obliged were achieved success. It's time turn fight Li Junu. His opponent was Sun, the Iron King of the Mandogan clan named Insun. He was considered a genius who reached rank B at the age of 17. Li Jun intent was to moderate his vanity and pride. He did it with ease-blocked Insun's shot. The enemy saw that the guy was not trying attack. It seemed to him that it's strange. Insun decided that this some kind of trick. Clutching his secret weapon, he rushed at Li Juna. Insun applied reception that was called Li Huachan. Many sharp darts flew at his opponent. By using SVOH abilities, Li Jun stopped them. He had already experienced them before. This reception on itself therefore knew how to act. He turned the darts back. Now they were returning back to Inseong. Li Jun stopped them and didn't kill the guy. The match was finished. In it won Li Jun. Han Minson was glad that he managed to get this guy on his side. But Father Juna has no intention had to put up with it. Minson noticed that this decide only Junu. Both girls were waiting for the guy after the fight. They were belligerently set against each other. Attention Juna distracted Hek Jin. He praised his friend for that showed myself to the fullest. Next it was his turn show your own mastery. Li Jun wished to him good luck. The teacher noticed that Li Juna is a good friend who notices not only his skills, but also his soul. In the evening, friends gathered together, so that drink to their first victory. They were happy because on this day everyone managed to win. Attention Jia distracted by the phone. The news that she saw it there very her upset. At that time, there was popular female group Scarlet Girls. They drove through the destroyed gates places and gave concerts there. This increased their popularity. During one of these concerts, They fought with monsters that contributed take off their careers. One of them, Uni, became popular on YouTube. That's where she has posted online photo together with Lee Jun. Even though the news was not true, but Uni did not care much. I hope that Lee Jun has already seen their joint photo. It has arrived second stage competitions. Heck Jin asked his friend what was wrong with his face. Lee Jun didn't want to admit that Jia hit him. Their talk interrupted Lee Shin. He was the one next rival Lee Juna. The guy decided to ignore Shin's taunts. Lee Shina is this more made him angry. He threatened the guy that will destroy it. The king sat in the front row and watched what was happening. He was happy about this match. Its outcome will show who the strongest and who has no place in their clan. Judge told participants of the rules. They was use any techniques and weapons. Anything that wasn't lethal was allowed. Countdown time went. Shin expected that Jun will attack first. The guy was in no hurry. He saw around Shin red energy that fast was spreading. He, confident in his abilities, rushed at Jun. First, the guy managed to intercept his blow. He attacked Shin in return. Tom also managed to repel the attack. Lee Shin was eager to attack and resist. He was overcrowded energy and considered myself the strongest. Spectators were delighted. They for the first time saw that would someone reached AA class in such a young age. The king as this should was would to please, but he did not understand where Shin got it from this one ominous energy. Guys continued battle. Lee Junu, tired of Shin's bragging, he got ready fight back. He dealt a powerful blow to his opponent, which knocked him down. The teacher could not understand how the fragment of Pa Chong's technique guy, no time which belonged to his first student, ended up in Lee Shin's possession. He reminded Lee Junu, what take possession this technology can was only after development techniques endless voids. This reception was used during its bad times glory 1,000 years ago. Lee Jun. Same was puzzled by how ancient technology could have emerged in the modern world. Master, I was thinking about how similar combat arts could return to the modern world. Lee Jun came to the conclusion that this maybe be associated with gates, rifts, similar to fields, which remind medieval world of fighting arts. If the ancient world really connects with the modern through these rifts, then this is how Lee Shin could have obtained the technique. Having decided find out the truth from Lee Shin himself, Lee Jun agreed with the proposal masters, complete the quest and obtain the Pa Jong fragment guy. Reward promised be significant, and Lee Juna has an additional one motivation to win. It has begun the second round, and Lee Jun, activating all his power, furiously attacked Lee Shina. He didn't understand where it came from. Lee Jun scoops up power and why his punches became so fast and accurate. While dodging the attacks, Lee Shin felt growing fear, realizing your own powerlessness. Not recognizing defeats, Lee Shin continued fight, but Lee Jun with ease dodged his attacks, dealing unexpected and strong blows. Filled with fear, Lee Shin tried to stop the enemy and begged him not to come closer. Lee Jun inflicted a crushing blow that knocked the opponent to the ground. Judge tried to announce the end of the match, but Lee Jun insisted that the fight was not over until the enemy surrendered. When Lee Shin woke up, Lee Jun, having decided find out where he got his power from. I'm sure that's behind this is hidden something more than just a coincidence. However, at the very unexpected moment when Lee Jun tried to get an answer behind his back, suddenly flashed blade of the blade. How only Lee Shin got ready something to say. From his mouth gushed blood, filling space around. Lee Jun was confused, not understanding what happens, but soon noticed a man with a sword approaching him. This was the clan lord and Lee Shin's uncle. It turned out that he was everything. This time followed Lee Shin and saw how that used the power of destruction, a technique available only penetrated into the world of martial arts. Initially he fought them, mistaking them for monsters, but later they offered to make him stronger by giving him his power. The Lord agreed, ready to execute any their condition. Understanding that Lee Shin can to reveal his secret, the Lord intervened in the battle to stop irreparable. Lee Jun realized that my uncle had intentionally wounded Lee Shina till he couldn't speak. At the same time, he was alarmed by a strange energy emanating from a man. Unable to contain himself, he declared that he has no right to interfere in his duel. The Lord rushed at Lee with his sword, Juna, but the guy managed to reflect his blow. The enemy used equipment 5 kings, one of the most powerful, and Lee Jun wasn't there. I'm sure he can endure her. Having opened window status, he realized that his characteristics were insufficient. Having spent their points for improvement, Lee Jun raised level to equal with the enemy, which surprised the man quite a bit. The fight promised to be tense, with each movement was growing danger and uncertainty. Li Jun, not intending to give in, he tried again. Find out where Shin got such a thing extraordinary power. He knew what was behind this cost something much more complex than just physical preparation. In response to his question, Li Shin, struggling to contain himself pain and blood, finally admitted that this power is not his own, but the result of the intervention of his uncle, who was associated with the dark magical powers. Li Jun undertook attempt to strike, but the clan king suddenly stopped him before he could complete his attack. Father stated that it was time for Jun to stop, which made the guy very angry. He didn't understand since when he started considering him his own son. Joyful Uni was streaming. She admitted to her subscribers and viewers that she had become a fan. Li Juna. Girl was, I'm sure that will reach level of 6 kings before we'll move on to high school. People didn't like this thought and followed unsubscribes from her channel. This is upset girl. Uni was, I am sure that she is right. Li Jun was angry at the man who brave call himself as his father. He was never there when needed. Moments. The boy survived the death of his mother and beatings alone ants. All the time he tried get hold of attention, father, but he didn't care about him affairs. At first disowned his son, Li Jun. I poured out all the pain I had been holding inside onto him many years. He didn't intend to more listen excuses, father. He needs was to complete the task and return the fragment to Pa Zhonggai. Duwang intends was do everything possible that I would like to stop him. The blows that they exchanged were so powerful that the arena couldn't withstand it. People were afraid that she's coming soon will collapse. Man with a gun rushed at Li Juna intending to kill him. The guy noticed that also owns a fragment of Pa Qiangai. The teacher was angry. The enemy, meanwhile, rapidly was approaching. Li Jun felt like he was being watched. This was grandfather hack Gina. The guy decided to finish the fight as soon as possible and give the old people a gift. He took the spear in his hands and used it Black Dragon Wall technique. Her strength was so powerful, which did not give a chance for salvation. Enemy realized that such he can't be stopped. He is desperate tried deflect the blow with your sword. Grandfather Hack Jin, with help the techniques of the sacred Thunder King, stopped this madness. The arena turned into a circus. News about this event fast spread across the web. People condemned the cruelty Li Juna. The thought that will soon appear the 6th king no longer seemed impossible. The author of this article was Secretary Minsuna. Girl, I understood that for such work you should ask for a raise. Li Jun was relaxing in his shelter when the phone came a message from a journalist with a request contact. It made him think. It seemed even here arrived connection. After checking the status, he saw that received reward for returning the Pajong fragment guy. What has become of him pleasant news. All that he had no choice but to do this win tournament celestial combat arts and get magic weapon that are looking for demons. Suddenly Li Jun, I thought, if the fragment of Pa Changai ended up with Li Shin and Du Wan, maybe this means that demons are people from Time's masters. However, the master couldn't reply to this question. Li Jun reminded that Pa Changai belonged to the master's first disciple. If demons are connected with his student, that them now do. Master firmly stated that in such case demons will have to destroy. He explained that fragments of Pa Changai represent threat to the whole world. This technology has drowned the world in blood, awakening insatiable thirst murders at his carrier. How more often use Pa Changai, the stronger becomes thirst. Even the master had difficulty holding on mind reason not to kill ordinary people, but everything is from his hand equally many fell masters combat arts. Realizing his mistake, he isolated himself and created new sacred art, Hongwan, to prevent similar mistakes in the future. Exactly this one he handed over the equipment Li Junu, what straightaway increased the guy's rank. Li Jun asked what happened after creation's new techniques. Master replied that he had gone search his student so that hand over to him Hongwan and save from the pernicious path, but the attempt to atone for the guilt that led to his death. Master asked Li Jun to stop demons. Li Jun, being his student, promised to fulfill his request, since he himself had spent his whole life dreamed destroy demons who killed his mother. After talking to the teacher, the guy decided visit Ho Su. That was glad to see him and noticed that now Li Jun is real the star everyone is talking about. Jun suggested help Ho Su awakens the forces, and that agreed, completely trusting a friend. I am happy with this decision and wanted to make sure personally in his rebirth. Meanwhile, the clan lord returned. Home. Situation went out of control, and reputation, the family found itself under threat. The only chance to save the situation was win the tournament Celestial Combat Arts and get the Sword of Demons. The Lord decided that his son Tommen must do this any price, and he himself intends to deal with Li Jun personally. Hosu managed to awaken the AA class trait, and his teacher received a reward for it. Li Jun asked Hosu how he was feeling, and he replied that feels myself filled with energy. It turned out that Hosu awakened ability of the Du clan. Master noted that he did not expect Continuation's clan in this way, because the Du clan is one of ancient families who lived in a world of fighting arts. Li Jun suggested that if the Du clan comes from Korea, then Hosu can be his descendant. After of this, Li Jun left Hosu as training with sharks, and he himself went on business. The arena was fully destroyed. Journalists wondered how will be continue fights. One of them noticed people who were using spells restoration work was carried out to repair the structure. They were looking for Li Jun, but it was hard to spot the guy in the crowd. Li Jun, he understood that he couldn't miss the fight, but he need to was stay unnoticed. He decided support Park Chung and sneaked into the room preparations participants where he met Hyuk Jin. The guy asked where is Park Chung, and that one replied that she came out. Soon the girl came. She was offended by Li Jun for being late. That tried calm down her, saying that cooked for her a special gift. Huge crowd got ready to watch the fight between Park Chun and Tommen. The girl applied precise blows, but Tamina managed to block there. He responded with counterattacks, which Park Chung skillfully dodged. At some point, Tommen applied cunning, threw sand in the eye's rival. Despite the temporary blindness, Park Chung did not intend surrender. She caught up with the enemy and wounded him. But Tommen understood that he couldn't to lose as at stake there was honor for his family, and the opportunity to obtain the demon sword. He was there for the sake of victory, ready go for everything, not stopping at the possible consequences. The guy knew that this may be to be his last chance, and realizing the full importance moment, decided use it. Pak Chun felt like his approaching danger. Her heart started beating faster when she realized that all may be end differently than expected. I was counting on it. Young woman, I put my hand under the blow and suddenly activated the talisman that he gave her June before the fight. I realized that there was a protective shield energy, opposing external dangers. The weapon pierced the talisman but did not reach its target. Pak Chung with gratitude looked at Li Jun. Taemin couldn't understand how young woman I was able to use such power, because she didn't have such capabilities. Pak Chun raised her sword and delivered the final blow, noting that Tamin is not worthy even her weapons. The match is over. Victory for Pak Chung. Hyuk Jin announced that in the quarter-finals he passed Li Jun, Jia, and Park Chung, which means they to come fight each other. He realized that Jia didn't communicate with him because I was seriously preparing for the tournament. Deciding not to be left behind, Hyuk Jin hurried to training. Li Jun understood that both of his friends are striving for victory, but this time he is also intended to show myself. In this time to go to Tamina's hospital room, his father came. Son apologized for not being able to justify Hope's father. The man assured him that it was not his fault. The girl used one-time artifact. Entered the chamber, a man who the Lord served. The Lord presented to him son. The monk asked what worries the guy. Tamin admitted that despite all the training, he was unable to win the tournament and receive the demon sword. The Lord explained to the monk that was going to draw the sword to then pass it on to the owner. For honesty, the monk decided to thank him and gave Tamina a unique item. In the morning, Li Jun woke up in a good mood. He felt that the day would be successful. Suddenly into his room burst in Jia. He didn't understand how I got here. What for, young woman? She replied that she simply broke the lock. Taking Juna by the hand, she asked for help, explaining that the prize for the place in the tournament, the Sword of Demons, was stolen. Jia begged Li Juna help find the missing person. Her voice was full of anxiety and concern. She couldn't understand that happened, and sincerely I hoped he could help in this complex situations. Li Jun, after listening her, he thought. He understood that this case requires careful attention. They started discuss happened, trying disassemble every moment, an event that could help find the missing item. The guy asked her what actions she plans undertake, and actually Li intends search suspects. Master suggested that these could have been creatures from another world, famous How demons after all. They ready to do anything for the sake of the demon sword. Li Jun was angry that his well-deserved prize was taken away from him. In this time, Jia spoke on the phone with her secretary, informing her of what had happened. Li Jun asked about Fate Tournament's celestial combat arts. Jia explained that this discussed at the meeting. Li Jun wanted to make sure that the tournament will not be cancelled, and suggested Ji hand over to the chairman idea replace the prize. Meanwhile, at the meeting discussed continuation tournament. Some factions were absent, but most already knew about the night theft. The chairman stated directly that ponders cancellation tournament and asked opinion gathered. Part present supported him, believing that need to focus on searching stolen artifact. Others have noted that even if cancelled, the tournament prize must get to the best fighter. Otherwise, this will cause a stir in the media. Chairman was ready to accept solution how suddenly the secretary handed him the phone with Jia on the line, gathered supported idea replacements awards, and chairman announced the Blood God card as the new tournament prize. Meanwhile, Li Jun, with help camouflage, visited the museum where previously was stored stolen exhibit. Master, I noticed that Sinyavka was nervous because of magic stones around. Li Jun ordered to him take track strength similar to his inner one. Sinyavka found the way to a hidden temple that was not on the map. Li Jun doubted that they are on the right paths. Having opened the door, the guy found there is a portal inside. The guy realized that the temple was built specifically so that hide gates. He decided open gate by force and deal with those who stole his reward. Having opened them, Li Jun found himself in the Temple of Paradise. This temple was mesmerizing as architecture. Its beauty and grandeur surpassed everything he saw earlier. Master thought about it, trying to remember where you've already met similar place. After thinking about it, he remembered that here lived assassins or monk, killers who once upon a time there were heretics in his era. Li Jun suggested that they can be associated with demons and a stolen sword. Approaching the gate, Li Jun straightaway noticed that security was on site. The monks standing at the entrance became alert when they noticed the stranger and immediately demanded that he explanations, asking who he was. Li Jun didn't waste time on persuasion and stated directly that he was the owner of the sword, which they stole. These words caused the monks to only discontent. They accepted his statement, how audacity, and immediately surrounded him, preparing for a possible threat. Understanding that talking to them is useless, Li Jun squeezed teeth and prepared for battle, ready to meet enemies face to face. However, suddenly forward, Sinyavka stepped in, using his magic, instantly transforming into a huge beast. His gigantic appearance, full forces and threats terrified monks. Li Jun took advantage of confusion enemies and activated Demon Lord's Heavenly Step technique. Despite the numerical superiority monks, Li Jun cleverly dodged blows and parried attacks. He understood that individually, monks do not represent threats, but their quantity creates danger. Deciding not to prolong the fight, Li Jun used equipment spears, third form, and the Black Dragon method. There was a blow so powerful that no one managed to hide. The monks tried Call the Elder, but Sinyavka did not give them do this. Soon all the opponents were defeated. Li Jun praised Sinyavka for his courage and strength. Then he absorbed Fragment's destructive waves, feeling how his inner energy significantly increased. But relax, it was early. To him came out Boss Temple. The monk had previously reported his own subjects that he managed to get the blade of the apocalypse that he was looking for long years. This weapon that possessed deadly by force once used the god of blood who destroys the heavens. He was his lord's teacher. The monk knew that his lord was long tried to find this blade, and now his whole purpose consisted in the fact that help the Lord come into this world. To the elder reported an uninvited guest in the temple. He couldn't understand how someone was able to penetrate this place, carefully hidden from stranger's eye. Security assured that it's just ordinary awakened. But the monk knew that at this, the place could have been reached only those who associated with the world of martial arts. He decided immediately find out who dared violate Border's temple. The man understood that the enemy's actions could threaten security total places. Blue, like always feeling danger, wary, tensed up and prepared for the possible attack, awaiting instructions. Going outside, the monk noticed a young guy standing nearby. Li Jun realized that this human represents by yourself real threat, and it should not be underestimated. Master found out the person in front of you was the young man who once followed his first student. Li Jun asked how much strong this man is. A master reported that is the weakest from all subordinates, the first student. The monk was furious when he noticed the bodies, their own students. He decided to destroy the one who dared their kill and rushed to attack. Li Jun squeezed spear and activated equipment infinite spears, then used phantom murder technique. Their blows they collided, and the monk managed to parry the blow. Li Jun realized that the enemy was strong because he had difficulty blocking his attacks. Internal, the damage made itself felt, causing Li Jun painful feelings, but he continued to stay on your feet. The monk, without intending to stop there, again concentrated his force and struck another powerful blow, aiming finish off the enemy. Li Jun, not having time to dodge, fell to the ground. Sinyavka protected him with his body. The monk looked attentively peered into space around, realizing that the enemy is all still alive and trying to determine its location. Li Jun came to his senses with difficulty. After blow, he still managed to grab Sinyavka at the very last moment. The guy knew that loyal beast took the monk's blow, thereby saving his life. Realizing seriousness situation, he decided to cope alone. Li Jun opened gates and sent Sinyavka home, realizing that his friend needed rest and treatment. Having risen, Li Jun realized that I hadn't met for a long time such a strong opponent since awakening. However, he had no intention of retreat because it was not in his character. Monk, before how continue the fight, asked the guy a question. He noticed that owns unusual technology combat arts, which belonged to their god. He didn't understand how someone like Li Jun could master divine equipment combat arts. The man came to the conclusion that belongs to the Chosen Ones, because demonstrated a trick with an illusion technology related to the celestial blood demon technique. Li Jun asked the master the number of his names. That admitted that this was one of them in the era of his turbulent glory. The guy thought about the nickname Heavenly Bloody Demon and asked if it would lead whether there was a map to his secret hideout. Master refused reply. Li Jun was surprised how much the teacher is closely connected with his enemies. He remembered that all the paths of divine art are infinite, or heavenly destruction. Either way, otherwise were associated with the master. Li Jun decided not to retreat. Even if internal forces, it will turn out not enough. The system issued warning of the strength of the enemy. Li Jun rushed at the monk, but he easily deflected his attack. He applied against the guy the blood demon palm technique. Wild flames surrounded Li Jun with all sides, but he from him evaded. Using spear, the guy struck counterattack. The teacher noticed that the monk had applied equipment first lines from which Li Jun necessary had to be evaded. However, another blow wounded young man. The teacher urged him to retreat. The battle should have been left for another time. Li Jun was adamant. The temple they found could be the key to the sacred lands, and he couldn't allow it to happen. Master or his students suffered. Activating all power and technology infinite spears second style, Li Jun prepared for battle. The monk realized that the guy was using divine equipment spears. To the rescue elder, his assistant hurried, and seizing the moment, he struck Li Jun gets hit. Master saw his student lose consciousness. During unconsciousness in front of Li, memories flashed through Jun's mind, meetings with Sinyavka, trips to cafes with Jia, moments with friends. And in all these, in his memories, his teacher was nearby. Li Jun was deep grateful him for helping. The old man replied that it was his time. Diet hasn't arrived yet. The monk looked at the motionless body Li Jun, having decided that the guy was dead. However, suddenly young man rose to his feet, enveloped powerful energy. This energy was such destructive forces that burned everything alive nearby. The monk couldn't understand how awakened could have energy their lord. He realized that demonic energy reacted to the artifact that belonged to the guy. Li Jun, in control fiery spear, struck crushing blow. Awakening the skill, dominant step, which transformed into a new one equipment combat arts, he finished the fight by piercing the enemy's body with a spear. The monk tried pull out weapons, but to no avail. Not wanting to in vain to die, he hoped drag away Li Jun into the afterlife with herself. Powerful explosion broke the silence of the night, causing the earth to shake. Bright flash Sveta illuminated everything around. Demonic energy absorbed Li Jun. He didn't know. Mercy. Jun absorbed a fragment of Pachion guy and his inner strength increased. The guy felt sick and fell. The teacher knew that to him required rest. His body managed to rise up or destruction. Hosu is working hard trained, trying to improve its characteristics. He was distracted Tigur, to whom was curious how they are going. The guy is doing well. He reminded him that it was time for him to go back. Home. Hosu hurried collect things. His family was waiting for him at home for dinner. Tigur volunteered go together with him to see him off. Hosu was not happy about this ideas. He was afraid that Tigura may be someone to see and harm. Tiger finally achieved it his own, and the guy allowed it to him go together with him. The fairy, having learned that Tiger will go with Hosu, too volunteered go together with them. It was a street night. There was a fire in Hosu's house, light. His younger brother was cooking dinner for the family. There was a noise in the street. The children thought that this returned Hosu. They joyfully rushed to meet him. Instead, their brother was standing there, Sharkman. The authorities received a message that was discovered energy monsters in the big quantity. Nobody understood that it happens because Breakgate there was nowhere. To all it was ordered to urgently find a free one group that will be able to provide safety. Tiger was happily playing with the children, inventing new fun, and causing them to have a loud, infectious laughter. Fairies helped the older children with the housework. The children gratefully accepted their help. Creatures expressed appreciation Hosu for the hospitality, but that only noticed that gratitude unnecessary. After all, children, they are not afraid. Sharkman asked Hosu, "Is it really so?" Lee to him like this house, after all, earlier on this place was dump. Hosu admitted that earlier they lived in slums, so this house seems them real fairy tale. He wanted to buy more convenient housing on the Rocks Manor that gave Lee June, but the property prices were huge. Even on the outskirts, there were houses billions. Then the fewer monsters in the area, the more expensive real estate. Moving as also far was unsafe. Therefore, Hosu decided that in the village they will safer. This one house turned out to be enough spacious for all families. Therefore, they stopped here. Creatures noted that Hosu very responsible, because in such a young at an age he took on upbringing juniors, brothers, and sisters. In the course of their conversation, the fairy had an idea, and she decided share her with Sharkman. They noticed that the guy was the first cared about his family and not himself, and decided help to him get settled. Hosu didn't understand that happens when saw how fairies and mice diligently are working. He decided give they have a chance to show their capabilities. Shark found strange thing. There are only 3 rooms in the house, but for one person should have to be at least would be alone. Because of the little children they couldn't share, all in different ways rooms. Taguru got an idea do rising walls with buttons to 3 rooms turned into 5, 8, or even 10. Sharkman praised him for his resourcefulness. The house project was practically completed. Nobody from inhabitants didn't know that yet soon. This place will become the most valuable in the country. Thanks used magic. No monster will be able to get close to him. Late at night, Tingini gathered the team and announced their task. Nearby was discovered big accumulation energy red-class monsters. Their job is to make sure that none of them escaped until awakened hunters prepare for battle. Hyuk Jin asked why I wouldn't trust this is for hunters, but Pak Chan explained that they were busy search magical crystals. The boys got to the place and discovered icy walls are a sign that inside are located monsters with ice attributes. Everyone was nervous because Lee Jun wasn't around. They doubted their abilities. Tingini reminded that their task is control and observation. They discovered entrance and agreed to take turns on duty. At dawn at the entrance it has begun movement and the team prepared for action. Guys saw how from doors slowly came out Hosu. The guy looked like nothing special happened. Their faces reflected genuine surprise and light confusion. None of them understood that what exactly is he doing there and why appeared in this place at such a moment. Park Jong, frowning slightly, asked the others who such this guy and why he ended up here. On her question, Hyuk Jin replied, explaining that this is Jun's student. Despite the surprise, they assumed that Hosu could to extract stones in the dungeon to feed his big family. They discussed with Tingini that do next. Teacher assumed that the guy was unaware of the danger and did not realize that he was being watched monsters. She suggested destroy the monsters in order to help Hosu. Guys agreed to this plan, realizing that need to protect a friend from possible dangers. Hosu, going outside, looked around with a glance the surrounding area and tried to figure out where can hide observers. He was wary and worried because knew that people could monitor this zone, like previously warned Sharkman. The guy needs it was be careful and don't cause trouble suspicion so as not to expose dangers yourself and yours close ones. Suddenly to him rushed worried guys. They started ask the guy, everything is he okay? He didn't expect it there here see. Hosu tried to explain them that there is no danger here, but they did not listen to him. Friends decided take care of the guy because behind his back was located tunnel with monsters. In this time, Shark and Tiger attentively watched what was happening situation, trying not to miss a single moment one details. Tiger was clearly upset because he never managed to complete the construction of the house. Discontent was noticeable by his tense look. However, he quickly pulled himself together and suggested hide by using the portal he had prudently prepared in advance. Suddenly the portal came to life, and from its depths, Sinyavka got out. Once on the other side, he immediately headed towards Gia. Young woman was stunned by his sudden appearance and could not understand that is happening. Questions filled her head. What does Sinyavka do in this place, and why is its owner not nearby? On Gia's face reflected sincere surprise and light anxiety, while Sinyavka tried to convey to her important message. Sinyavka tried to explain by all accessible to him in ways that his friend was in danger. Gia ordered everyone run after him. She explained, guys, what June needs them help. Tinjini tried to stop them, but Hosu convinced her how teacher she should to provide safety students.